Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cambridge International Open Tournament. We're here commentating on round 8. With me today is the British women champion, Lanyao, or Lisa, and also Grandmaster Peter Wells. Great to have you both here.
Great to be here. Thanks, Natasha.
Great to be here.
Okay, and we're going to go straight in. We're about an hour into round 8, so we're going to go straight into the action. I'm just going to put it on the screen now. And I thought let's start with the game Mickey Adams against Declan Shafee, because Mickey's in the lead. He's half a point clear, isn't he, of the tournament so far, going into the penultimate round. And he has started again with 1e4. So let's see what we get. And Ruy Lopez.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. We've seen Mickey play this before.
And d3. I think people are avoiding the open a little bit more again these days somehow.
Yeah, I see a lot of strong players like Karana play this opening. And it's kind of drawish for him. Also, Naples played this opening, like e4, e5, and the Spanish. So,
yeah. So we might see it in the World Championship.
Yeah. Personally, I would like to avoid such openings because too many great players just played it. So, yeah. I think Michael Adams, he's just very good at this kind of positions, like positional games, and he can come up with very great, innovative ideas in such positions. So this opening should be beneficial for him.
Mm.
I mean, Mickey, of course, plays this kind of stuff with both colors as well. I mean, he was playing a fairly solid sort of Italian against Peter Roberson this morning, and eventually managed to grind something out, which was quite impressive. But yeah, he's e4, e5 plays a huge amount of a role in Mickey's chess for sure.
Hi, Kevin. Okay. And
yeah, this is interesting because Mickey sort of plays d4 in 2 stages, but he's kind of saved a move on h3 as well. I don't know if he's going to end up playing h3 anyway, but I think part of the idea is to sort of force black to decide where to put his pieces in the event that white plays d4, or also in the event that white plays d3. That kind of flexibility gives black some quite tricky choices, perhaps. Now the center is about to get closed without white having to do the usual h3 stuff. But
yeah. So so Declan's bringing his knight round. Do you think Mickey's going to push his pawns on the king side, or just go for something a bit quieter?
I mean, if there's a choice between hyper sharp and some way of getting an advantage by playing solidly, Mickey tends to choose the latter, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just temperamentally is.
Kevin's seen Mickey do masterclasses at the World Seniors. Yeah. Okay, c5.
Yeah.
And Mickey just closes it up with d5 here.
Yeah, I think this will be a long game. And I think that when I was young, I was taught not to play d5 in this position because this will make the position close and it's hard to attack. But I mean, d5 sometimes can be a good idea, and it's just a long game. And I mean, because this is a two games a day event, so you should have good energy, like for making.
So Lisa, if you were taught not to play d5, what were you meant to hold the pawn just there in the center, or exchange it off, or what were you meant to do instead?
Yeah, so when I was young, I was taught. I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was taught to play just hold here, play something like h3 first, preventing bishop g4, and then knight g3, and then maybe bishop e3 in the future. Yeah, so that's the idea. But I mean, taking the pawn, I'm not sure, but I think the position will be very simple, and white will not have any advantage anymore.
Yeah. And where did you actually learn to play, Lisa?
In China, I would say all around China.
Yeah.
Because I was born in a small city like near Shanghai. So when I was very young, I became very strong in my city. So the situation is that I didn't have really good teachers, really suitable teachers. So I just went to all kind of places like I have been to Shanghai, Nanjing, and Wuxi to play chess and to have master class, and also had master classes online with some great GM coaches in China. So
wow. So you traveled around quite a lot when you were young for chess?
Yeah, I travel quite a lot, and sometimes it's like very harsh because I had to travel after school, right after school, in order to play one more game or something like that. Because in a period my chess was not so good because I had to focus on study and I just didn't have time to play chess. So the thing is, I just had to utilize my weekend to play and do trainings.
Yeah. It's busy life trying to do both, isn't it?
Yeah.
But nice. Yeah.
I think it's quite important that black plays c4 after white plays d5. Otherwise, it's quite easy for white to get a b3, c4 clamp in.
Okay. So
what I'm wondering here is a knight can then hop into the c5 square and use those, slightly weakened b3, d3 squares, at least as a warning. In this position, black's knight is over on g6. And I'm kind of wondering whether that's part of what motivated Mickey to close the center at this point. Just the thought that that knight is way away from the squares it might want to go to. Yeah.
It can't come around to here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just comparing it with other similar lines like in the Braille, when you get this structure, the knight is usually on its way to c5 a little more conveniently. I mean, black could reorganize and bring the other knight to c5, but
so he'd have to
got to get rid of its own bishop first. It's got to make way.
Yeah. Oh, so the bishop would come out to what, g4 or somewhere?
Well, or even back to c. But yeah, it seems a lot. I don't know. If Mickey's achieved something, it's a position where actually, when black played bishop d7, I think it's regarded as one of the best responses to a4. But Mickey's kind of managed to get a position where you might rather not have it on d7, and even that feels like a small achievement in this.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's clever. Okay, and so he now brings his knight round this way. Oh, so if the bishop does go back to c8 and then the knight goes across to d7, then this knight might hop in.
The thing is that if bishop c8, I think white can just take the b pawn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think he needs to prepare. He does need to prepare bishop c8, otherwise he's not.
So it's quite hard to do all these preparations. Yeah. It's quite a few moves to get any knight to c5. Okay, and so he does rook b8, so that gets rid of that problem. Bishop d2, and he is doing this plan, right? Bishop c8.
Yeah, he is doing the plan.
Yes. Okay. And now Mickey does a nice rook a2 here. Yesterday afternoon, I was commentating with John Ems, and Mickey did a rook c2 move we hadn't kind of been thinking about to kind of just double his rook and strengthen along the second row. So now this is a rook a2. What's he doing? He's just trying to double.
I think those kind of quiet moves, improving pieces a little bit, is probably one of the things where Mickey is stronger than most of his, most of the other players in the country. That's one of the things he specializes in. Just these little small improvements, which other people either might not think of or might not understand the importance of. But he's very, very good at that.
Yeah.
I like rook a2, although it does sort of mean, it sort of commits white to doing stuff on the a file, I guess.
Yeah. Or is he just getting it? I'm just trying to work out. He's just getting it off prees if the knight comes in to one of there.
Well, he may be intending to double. I'm just wondering where he's going to put the queen, because the thing is, if he goes queen e2, then I guess he has to reckon at least with the possibility of knight f4 in some position.
He does go queen.
So it may be.
Yeah,
he just does it straight away.
Yeah, and knight f4 doesn't happen. So maybe he just came to the conclusion that didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although It's not obvious to me that that necessarily doesn't matter.
Mm.
It could be as simple as bishop takes, e takes, knight h5, and it's very hard to defend the out. Something like this may just be very hard to defend.
So I'm going to show you the line. So bishop. So if he goes in there, Mickey takes, and just knight this way to just try and
perhaps, but I'm not sure. I mean, engines go g5 in these sort of positions.
G5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Follow going on. Oh gosh, but this is a different now.
Yeah.
Then we don't get the sort of quiet, slow manoeuvring game that Lisa was talking about. We get something different.
No, this isn't. But I was thinking like E5 or something at some point. I mean, you have to be careful because the queen are lined up. But you can.
Yeah, you can't do it right now because I'm going to be able to go knight f3 check if you go queen e4. But yes, I mean black. I don't know. But I guess that Mickey had. I couldn't see another. Maybe there's another sensible idea after knight f4, or maybe this is just too much for black. It's not obvious to me.
Yeah, because you could go h4.
You could, and if I go g4, you're going.
Knight e4.
I mean,
you could go. You could.
Gonna
you could go in
like knight g5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's trapped in the event of h6, but you might get some kind of a Spanish version of the Museo, the what's it, Algier gambit.
You get some pawns for it, wouldn't you? It would be a bit crazy.
I think knight d4 might be strong there as well, because the other thing with e takes f4, it does give this possibility of knight e4, which is you'd get some fun for it after knight g5, but knight d4 might be more solid. Yeah,
because now these two are both on freeze.
Yeah, these guys are. Black has to make some sort of f3 work. That's not what you. Really.
Yeah, this would go crazy.
H4's hanging as well. Okay, I have no idea. It's too complicated.
Yes. Hi, Kenworthy, not Gary Kenworthy. Good evening to you. Okay. So Declan decided against all of this anyway, and carried on with this plan: knight c5.
Yep.
And Mickey's opened the A file. Takes and doubled up.
Yeah.
It's on here. And that's where we are. This is the live position now.
Maybe here black can try knight f4. I'm not sure, but I mean now the knight is on c5. It seems that it's more on. It's kind of attacking this e4 pawn. So
yeah, I guess we'd still take.
Yeah, and e takes. Knight h5. I'm not sure. Does black have something like f5 or similar ideas?
Yeah, now I'm worried tactically for white. Even knight takes e4 and f5 maybe something.
Yeah.
Something on the e file.
Yeah.
I very much doubt this is what Mickey has in mind. Even if...
Okay, so knight f4. But knight f4 could be played now.
It looks like a good idea.
Yeah. So maybe Mickey doesn't want to take it at all and just kind of drop back somewhere. So let's say, but
the point is we're going to get a knight into d3, and I guess then it's a matter of whether it's one of those outposts that just looks pretty or whether it really does stuff. It doesn't. This feels like what I would be paying my attention to if I was white.
Knight c6 is also on.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we need a tempo to get there, don't we, somehow?
Oh, does he? Is he meaning? Takes and then knight. I'm not sure. Oh, that was in the other line. Okay. Fine. So maybe drop back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would.
If knight e3, I'm thinking about knight e1. Just trade this powerful knight.
Yeah.
Which knight d3 do you want to do? I'm not even sure which knight d3 because they're both.
Yeah.
They're both nice pieces.
Let's pick one. So this one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you tossing a coin?
I'm completely tossing a coin on which knight.
Yeah,
to go.
I think that's the
if it doesn't work, I'll say I will do the other knight.
Yeah.
In my experience, if you don't toss a coin, it costs a lot of time on the clock.
Exactly.
I'm learning, you see.
About these things.
I'm learning finally.
Okay, and then knight back to e1.
Knight e1.
Yeah. Maybe.
So I'm thinking about what if black plays knight c5 again, and should I take f4 knight at this moment? Or
e4's going to hang, isn't it? I think e4's going to hang.
Oh yeah, so doesn't really work.
So not.
Can knight e2 work? Just try to trade this annoying knight.
Just going here, yeah.
Could go back in again to d3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about knight e3 again.
Maybe the other knight this time.
Yeah.
The f knight, this time the f knight. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then
my gut is telling me that knight g3 is the best move in this position, which would mean that knight e2 wasn't a serious winning try, but I don't know.
we're just going to get the knight shuffling back and forwards.
I doubt that.
No, I doubt it too. But maybe can we just ignore it and like? Oh, I was going to want to go in with this rook, but there'd be 2 pawns on freeze as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how useful can it be to play something like rook a7 or rook a8, because I don't see anything here like of invading a rook.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I used to play positions in the Brea for black, and actually rook a7 often looks scary, but isn't that terrifying. Might need some extra dimension to give it a, some kingside pressure or something to give it a bit of edge. That can probably play around it, queen b6, bishop d7, rook b7, that sort of thing, in a lot of those positions. I don't know. This feels to me like it's not too terrible for black, but I wonder if Mickey had... Can we go back to knight f4 and just see if he had another way to do it?
So this is the one on the board, position on the board. Yeah. So if black does go knight f4, let's say.
Yeah, here it really doesn't seem plausible to me to take, but maybe we should check that. So takes and knight h5 again, maybe, because I don't really see where else to go.
Yeah.
But no, like we said, we have knight e4 and f5, and that is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
So here, and then f5.
Well, I think, or even knight takes f. Maybe knight takes is simpler, but f5's really good.
Oh, just knight takes first. Okay. So knight takes, bishop takes. F5.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. f5.
Yeah.
And so we can put the knight here. To try and go in there, but rook takes.
We have to take with the rook then, but this doesn't feel very Mickey to me. To be honest, this really doesn't feel very Mickey.
I'm sure if there was a tactic that worked, he'd do it. But,
yeah, although if the tactics are anti-positional, he doesn't even always look for them in.
Oh, really? But why is this about? Can't you just go like here? You're threatening to take.
It's queen e8 a double attack. It could well be.
Oh, you're going to.
I'm a bit nervous about our back rank. Oh, sorry, it's not a double attack. You're not attacking the knight. That's okay. So queen e8 is probably not the move, but I don't. Yeah, maybe just h3 and on with the game.
Just h3. What's this? How's this? Because like you can bring the knight in and the rooks.
Yeah. Okay, so not queen e8. That's maybe a miserable move. Let's try. I was hallucinating that the knight wasn't defended. I don't know. I might be quite. I might quite enjoy this fight, but I'm not sure what Mickey would particularly. It's just feels like he's lost control of all the things he likes to keep control of. Okay. But maybe knight c6 is just so strong.
But this bishop doesn't go anywhere, and this bishop's not really either.
No, it's true. It might be just very, very.
Wait, so how about queen g5 and try to capture this h5 knight and like
queen g5 here like this.
Then g6 or something like that, because the knight.
Okay, but if we go knight c6 and then rook a8, is that some fun?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, like rook b7 and rook a8, rook c7.
Okay.
Looks quite passive for black, but I mean,
but if it works,
this one, yes,
yeah.
Yeah, no, if it works, it works. That's true.
Yeah.
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 Nice idea.
Yeah, another problem is that now white has a problem in the back rank, so white can't do something like rook b8, rook a8, because a rook can just go to e1 and checkmate.
Watch out for this checkmate. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also significant that you're playing g6 next. Yeah, that's the problem.
G6 is a threat because the knight doesn't have squares. Yeah.
G6 is coming fast. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this looks good for black on the face of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So Declan's still thinking about this move, and well, he might to make a decision.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about though, I think. But...
Okay. Shall we? Let's hop on to the next game, and we'll come back to this very soon. Okay. So this one's board 2, Oleg Kornev against Harry Grieve. Shall we see how we got to this position?
Yes. I think it's fair to say Kornev had quite a fortunate escape this morning.
Did he?
There were an awful lot of decisive games this morning. It was a bit of a bloodbath. And then this game where White hit the game he was defending against who was he playing? Was it Grandin, I think? I can't remember. But he was in big trouble, I thought, and he managed to...
He was playing Daniel Fernandez.
Oh, sorry, Daniel Fernandez, of course. Yeah, Daniel Fernandez, I thought was... who took his customary risks and eccentricities in the opening, but it came out quite well, and I thought he was liable to score a full point. But, okay, Kornev's very experienced and quite capable of mounting good defence. So... yeah, I don't know whether this opening is to do with Harry Grieve's sort of developing reputation as a theoretician, but I do suspect that people are learning not to take him on in some of the main lines.
Yeah. Everybody says Harry knows his theory well.
Yeah, Harry, I mean, he had I think yesterday, or he had another, or maybe even this morning, he had another of these time-on of Sicilians, which he seems to know incredibly well. And just various openings, he seems quite scary to me. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is quite a bit less well known then.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing you might play against somebody you didn't want to debate theory with, for sure.
Okay, so Harry trades.
I think he trades in order to move the queen, probably.
And queen out, yes.
Oh, so White castles. I wondered if White was ever intending to some sort of taking on c5 and switching the queen to h4, but it looked a bit naive to me. Just what you wonder when you see queen a4.
Oh, we had one of those yesterday. Yeah, a take on.
I don't think it was ever really on here because, I mean, b2 hangs and then you need to do something about the bishop on b5. I couldn't really see it being that dangerous, but
yeah,
thought did cross my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, e5.
So Kevin St. Carlson was the person who started putting the bishop on b5 in the London system.
Yes. Yeah.
Takes.
Okay, so nice
knight takes. Okay.
Tactical way to get e5 in.
Yep. And takes and takes.
And now this, when it starts to look like a position where white is black and black is white, but white hasn't got very much. It feels like, you know what I mean? This feels like an opening where white structure is a typical black structure and perfectly solid and playable, but not very exciting as a position to have with white, perhaps. But okay, if you can make
it still feels like you might want to put the queen over to the king side, but he's not doing that. He's gone c4.
Yeah, I think c4 feels like the way to try and make something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's threatening c takes d5, so black just covers the knight, which I think makes...
Yeah. And if black tried to take on b2, you just go rook b1.
That's the end of the queen, I think.
And there goes the queen, so you don't really want to do that.
Although knight b6 might keep her alive a bit.
Okay.
Queen c3 possibly could keep her alive, but I mean, if white's taking on b7, black probably doesn't want to look too closely at that anyway. So.
Yeah. Okay, and Harry just brings his rook.
Yeah.
To here, and this is where we are at.
Okay.
Lisa, the crowd, the chat is asking you, what are do you have any chess ambitions?
Chess ambitions? I don't know, but probably I hope to win more British champions.
Oh, lovely. Excellent. So you're going to play this year in the British Championship?
I hope so. And also I hope that I can perform better in all kind of like big tournaments like the Olympiad or something like that. The thing is that I didn't play really well in this World Rapid Blitz, but I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm not really suitable in playing in fast because I need to think, I need to take more time to think position. Recently, I think my standard game is going well. So yeah, I just want to improve my chess.
So what's your very favorite? If you could choose exactly what time control you wanted, what would you choose?
Now I prefer longer one, probably 19 minutes or 100 minutes plus 30 seconds. And then when it comes to 40 moves, it has increments like 30 or 50 minutes.
So that's quite a long. So you don't mind like 7-hour game or something? That's okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay for me as long as I get enough rest. I mean, the temperature is quite different. I mean, it's open because it's kind of 2 games a day. I mean, when I was young, I like this kind of time control because when I was young,
when you were young, you're extremely young.
I mean, when I was like 14 years old, like I could faster, but now I think 2 games a day is kind of tiring for me. So now I prefer like 1 game a day so that I can have enough time to prepare for that game. Play well.
Yes. So you like having the prep and all that sort of thing as well. I don't these days. I prefer just like as many quick games as possible. Well, you know, maybe not really quick, but I quite like a power game or something like that. Or
also quick games are for fun, but if you take it too seriously, then you will feel pressure.
That's true. Yeah.
Someone on the chat is about as impressed by you saying when I was young as I was. Look at that.
10-year-olds.
We'll have 10-year-olds on screen.
Like 40 years old. When I was 40 years, actually, my rating is almost the same, also 22, something like that.
Really?
But I play chess differently.
Yeah. And your rating's been going up, hasn't it?
Not really a bit. My highest rating is like 23, 40 something, but now it kind of dropped. So but I play chess differently from when I was young. I would say got more experience now, and I try to be more relaxed when playing because I don't want to give myself too much pressure, and I don't want to have too many ambitions. So
Does that work? Can you actually take the pressure off yourself by thinking like that?
I'm trying because now I'm kind of doing some psychological exercises before playing chess. I mean, that's really important for me because I can be affected largely by stress. Like this is what happened to me in the World Rapid Blitz. But when I feel relaxed and I have no pressure, actually I can play well. And
so, Lisa, what exercises do you do before a game?
Actually, I'm reading a book about chess psychology by Professor Jana Krivik. So she's also a women grandmaster, and I think that's a very useful book for players like of my level. Yeah. And the kind of breathing method or kind of visualizing. Also, this method is like introduced and used in the Olympiad preparation. So
Wow.
I would say that's quite useful.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah, so someone was asking me, do I play chess online? Yes, I do sometimes. But I would say
play online.
Play online. I usually play the fast game, like 3 minutes, but I think you shouldn't take online games too seriously. Otherwise, you'll be mad because sometimes it can happen like you win several games in a row, but you just lost several games in a row. So if you care about your grades online too much, you'll be mad. So that's my experience.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, no, I can't. But some of the players, they do. They'll play like all night, and yeah, like an addiction. But no, I don't. I'm not like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you keep losing games, you want to win it back, and you just keep playing until you win enough games to have enough ratings going back in online games. So that's why they play lots of games over a night. So that's my experience.
Yeah.
I played a tournament once where 2 GMs agreed a quick draw in the afternoon, and then they started playing Blitz, which they did for 24 hours, and arrived about 25 minutes late for their round the next day.
Oh, that's crazy.
If you want any evidence of addiction, that's...
I feel that they're all really energetic about chess, and they are passionate about chess. I mean, for a lot of young GMs like Ferocia. But I mean,
Ferocia did that, didn't he? Wasn't he playing?
Well, almost. But I'm not sure that's the way to channel your passion, really.
Yeah, but it doesn't really suit well for me, like this method, because I can easily get tired. And during my tournaments offline or during like similar big tournaments, I don't really play any chess online.
No.
No, absolutely. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. All right, we're going to look at...
abandon. You did mean to abandon the game now after C4. Yeah, we'll see what they were doing.
Hello, I blunder. I blunder too. Yes, I do too. Okay, we're going to look at this. This is the board 3 game. This is Golubovich against Brandon Clark, and we've got a C3 Sicilian here.
I think Golubovich had a very good win against the number 2 seed this morning. Yeah, whose name is momentarily eluding me, but he won a nice, very sharp Sicilian.
No, let me find out who you mean. Daniel Dada. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beating him with black is quite a major tournament boost. So he's. And here we have C3 Sicilian.
Okay. We have 3 C6, G4.
Bishop C4 is something because the main line is D4, and usually I kind of encounter mostly D4. Bishop C4. Yeah, here I think black can choose to play C4 at this moment or D5.
I must. So black plays C4 and Queen C7, but these lines I think are really dangerous for black.
Yeah.
You know, after Bishop C2, Queen C7, Queen E2, people were playing G5 for a long time.
Oh, I have seen that line.
But I think white these days. I think white plays this gambit with Knight A3, and it's really quite scary, actually.
What, Knight A3 here?
Yeah, Knight A3, G4, Knight B5, and so because of the fork on C7, after Queen B8 or something, Knight H4, black ends up having to take on E5 with the knight rather than the pawn, and it's one of those positions that, you know, almost whatever the engine says, I just won't touch it with black anymore. I just think it's too scary.
So you mean instead of C4, D5 should be safer and better choice for black?
I think it's a slightly better choice, but I'm quite a fan of Bishop C4. I think it's rather a good line, actually. I've played D5. I had this line they have here against Peter Roberson once.
Okay.
And I felt...
Oh, hi, Gawain. Hi, Vedanotti.
Oh, hi.
White isn't bothering to defend the pawn now.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so I'm even behind the time.
Okay,
every time I think I know something, I'm behind the times. But
tell me. Let's get Gawain's line on.
It's still quite dangerous, even if there are other things, or is that no longer done?
Peter, can you help me just get Gawain's line on the board so we make sure?
Your guess is as good as mine, but I assume that he means that. Okay, so what we just had instead, so C4 instead of D5.
Yeah.
Again, back where we were. Bishop C2, Queen C7. I assume that he means they have the audacity to just castle here.
Okay.
I mean, basically, in all these lines, the knight on b6 is a bit of a nightmare. So if white is going a4, a5, you can very easily show that c4 is weak. And then, you know, if you've got play for a pawn and black has these weaknesses, and I don't know. I guess that's what he means.
Okay, he's saying, yeah, that one's dangerous. Engines seem to suggest that taking the pawn isn't possible for black.
Oh, wow, okay.
So no need to defend. Okay.
That is quite impressive. I mean, people were playing queen c7 for so many years, and everyone just assumed it was a threat. It's quite impressive if it's not.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose if you don't have to defend
on one
it, there's no
level,
point playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
That is
So
very
so Brandon did play c4.
No, he didn't, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, sorry, he did go. Sorry, I meant c4 and then d5, yeah, d6 or something. That's yes, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, but then he went d6.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is the line I played once against Peter Roberson, but I was very conscious at the end of the game that I'd been a bit. I was glad to get away with half a point, I must say.
Okay, and you were white.
No, I was black.
Oh, you were black here. Yeah.
These are back in the. This is back in the day when I wasn't happy to come away with half a point with white, Natasha. These days I'm happy with either colour, but back then. Yeah.
Okay.
So white takes.
Takes. Queen takes.
Yeah.
And castle. And black plays bishop g4.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the whole kind of point for. Yeah, I also played knight e4 sorry, here many years ago. I think it's this position where it goes rook takes e5, bishop takes f3, queen e1, which is kind of a nice little way of keeping material equality. And you know, to me at the time, visually this didn't look too bad for black, but white's got so much potential when they go b3 and everything. It's just. And then bishop a3 and stuff. Every position is just more pleasant for white than it looks at first sight, I think.
Yeah, because you can't swing this queen round or anything. This bishop's nice.
No, I don't think you get any time to do any attacking. You just, yeah. That was a much more lucky escape, that game. So yeah, so I've basically stopped playing like this with black. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think there are better things to do in the c3 Sicilian, to be honest.
So even here, so you think maybe Brandon is ill-advised to go for this line?
I don't know. Brandon's another player I tend to think of as theoretically very strong in a lot of lines anyway. So he may have ideas that I'm not aware of, but I was actually a little surprised to see him go down this, I must say.
He's been playing quickly as well, so I think.
I'm sure he sort of has decided this is okay for. Maybe he's right. Maybe it can be okay, but I still think it's a lot easier for white to play.
Yeah. So he castled long. So we've got this opposite castling now. Knight a3, what you mentioned, and then Brandon had a big think,
right?
And moved his queen across to f6. So he just wants to take on f3 and double the pawns.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Which, in fact, white played
what he does.
Queen e2.
Yes.
And so what he does. Painful memories of your game with Vishy, Gawain.
Whose game with Vishy? My game with Vishy. No.
Gawain. No, his own game.
Oh, his game with Vishy. Ah, okay. I'm trying to remember. So I guess the idea of Queen e2 is that black can have bishop takes f3, g takes, but not knight e5 as well, which would probably make life a lot easier.
Okay. Yeah. So that's cut out.
Yeah. But okay, so
white's he's sort of opened this file in front of his king, got double pawns. But it looks like these have quite a bit of potential when they do get out.
I can't exactly remember my game with Peter, but I thought he did something with bishop e4, keeping structure at some point.
But also this is on prise, isn't it?
Yeah, this is on prise, but
then f3 would go.
Yeah, no, but then there would probably be bishop e4 at the end. Maybe that would. Oh, queen g4 check. No, I mean it depends.
Yeah.
On the position. Yeah, it's interesting. Is c4 being on prise, is that a big deal?
Well, I don't know whether it is, but Brandon seemed to ignore it anyway. Because
He's
Brandon
trying to remind Gawain of all his painful memories. This is harsh. This is not, it's not what the man's here for.
No, yeah, he's not going to come in the chat again.
No, exactly.
Come on, people, big up his wins.
Yeah.
Right, Queen B8.
King B8. So
King B8.
yeah, okay. So yes.
Yeah. Okay, and so white. Actually, yes, as you say, it doesn't matter that this is on prise. White's actually just can exchange it off.
Well, you know, opening files against the king
Yeah.
may be more moment than winning the pawn.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one, Blue Grey Haze. How about when Wayne won from being a queen down against Stephen Gordon?
Definitely ensuring Stephen Gordon will never join the chat.
Maybe he's on the chat. We don't know.
If he is, Steve, I apologise if you are. I find that memory painful, and I wasn't even playing.
You were the second.
No, I was just watching. I was
just watching. Yeah.
In kind of disbelief, as I imagine many people were. You know, when you're very fond of both players, you kind of want the game to end better than that. But...
And is Stephen Gordon still playing? He didn't stop off because of this game or anything.
Maybe not directly.
Okay. So so we now do have some open lines.
Yes.
And in particular, what this.
But for once, you feel that knight on b6 might not always be an awful piece. Like it could, if it goes to d5 and f4, it could become a player, couldn't it?
Oh yes, if you can get that. Imagine a knight on there.
Knight on there would be
really good.
You would guess. Or at least if you got the knight there when it was bad, you'd feel a little, feel a bit gutted with the world, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so.
To knight d5, he's on the way.
Oh, he is on the way. Okay, because he said
he's on the way to knight f4, and then because you just like mate in two if you do that, don't you?
Well, there's queen f1, so I'm not sure it's quite that simple, but yeah, feels like a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now I think it's hard for the white's dark square bishop to go out because now white can't play like d3 or d4 because
it's c3's on, isn't it?
And I mean knight 4 is kind of annoying, so why should I worry about this bishop?
I mean, to me, this looks really good for black now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when I was saying that I thought this was a good line for white, this isn't how I was particularly intending to handle it. I was thinking more of bishop e4 kind of things that Pete did against me, but yeah, I mean, I think it would only take a tempo like c3 being defended. If white could go d4 here or something, then maybe his position is still fine. But as it
maybe white doesn't mind about losing that c pawn.
Trouble is, if you lose the c pawn, you probably lose the d pawn as well, and then lots of other things as well. Probably, if you could, yeah, I'm not sure.
So what do we do if we're white? Yeah. Because this is a big threat, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of it looks like one, but on the other hand, if you can play queen f1 and then next move you can then to go d4, maybe hopping in immediately isn't even the most efficient way. Maybe keeping the c pawn covered with the threat to hop in is stronger, you know. Nimzovich style.
Yeah.
Threats, executions, that sort of thing. But,
yeah.
Knight d4, that's what white does.
All right. If I was white, I would phone a friend. Okay, so say we do knight f4, queen f1.
Yeah.
Then, okay, so it's not mate on the spot because we're just covering g2.
So I'm thinking about, is it possible for black to play something like rook d5 and just bring a rook to the king side? That means it's a common way of attacking.
That is
looks good to me.
Appropriately brutal.
So white needs to get some play. Well, say you do just. I mean, what actually happens? Say you do just go like d4 and.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So you're going rook h5.
Yeah, rook h.
Or even check first and then rook h. I don't know. Where do you want the king on h1 or g1? I'm not sure.
So how should I prevent this kind of rook h5 and the queen h4 threat?
Well, I think probably rook e4 or something has to come. But then I think black has, well, at the very least, black can make a draw with some rook takes h2 or something if he's given check on
Yeah.
g5 first. But I guess he may have... Let's try, I don't know, let's try the check first just to see. Rook g5 check, king h1, rook h5, something like that. My gut is telling me we want something like rook e4 to stay competitive here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is rook h2 possible to make a draw?
I think it's possible to make a draw, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's not possible to make more than a draw.
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be a quick end to the game.
I mean, I don't know. I think I think Brandon may well won't go all in unless he can aim for more, but it's possible. That may be.
Yeah.
That may be although objectively is, I don't know, surprisingly. Yeah. But obviously, if you're white, it's very important that you have some defense to the most brutal try, which is rook d5. And
yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, if you don't throw knight f4 in so early and you try and keep white's d pawn restrained by the knight c3 possibility, that might be another way of doing it. I don't know. Black can make any other moves that help to build up the attack.
So like e6? Or
Yeah.
Well, maybe just e6. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I mean, interesting.
Mm.
So is Brandon currently considering?
He's currently having a think.
Yeah.
So I want to just hop back to Mickey's game and just see, because we left them in a very interesting position. So let's, I can just give you an update we'd even do. Is that board 2, Harry and Oleg is already a draw.
It looks like we left this game at the right moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
I mean, I do have to say I have more sympathy than usual with the players with this 2 rounds a day over 4 days. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure Korneev's younger than me, but not by a whole massive amount. So I kind of think that when I signed up to play the tournament, I was aware that the schedule was going to be pretty grueling. And I've got used to doing 2 rounds a day over 2 days, and it's not ideal for me, but I can do it. But over 4 days, I think it's fairly testing of
says I hope someone informed Oleg and Harry that they're now obliged to play Blitz until the morning.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the position's fairly level.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a crazy thing to do, is it? Take a quick draw, conserve your energy for the next round. It's a big final round, and they're both strong players. So, yeah. Okay.
Let's say that this opening is kind of Jewish London system.
Yeah. They maybe both had it in mind, like even from the start. Yeah. Okay. We've had a couple more moves. So we did get knight f4.
Knight f4 was right. Yeah, I thought so.
So queen d1 instead of queen f1.
Queen d1.
I was fairly confident that Mickey wasn't planning any of the wild stuff with taking, but I wasn't totally certain. Okay,
and we've got just another couple of moves. So knight, then f knight came in, and knight e1.
So black tossed a coin, and it came down with the f knight.
It came down with the f knight. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So if black plays knight f4 again, does it make any difference between queen d1 and queen f1? Oh, is that why can't I play Queen F3, something like that?
Yes. It actually feels to me on reflection like Queen D1 is just a slightly better square.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about,
F3.
I think I was in a mindset of taking on F4 or not taking on F4, and I didn't give much thought to where we were putting the Queen, but yeah, it's a better square, of course. Queen F3 makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So what did Black play after knight? Because the only thing is, I guess F2 is not defended, so...
Okay. So here.
After knight E1, I wonder whether Black can do anything which forces the issue.
Oh, like Queen F6?
Yeah, or even Queen B6 or something. No, Queen B6 I don't think I like, but Queen somewhere. What did Black play, actually?
No, this is it. This is the position.
Oh, this is it. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he's having a think.
Which, by the way, is getting to a very similar time advantage to the one Mickey enjoyed this morning. He had almost exactly an hour against 30 minutes as they entered quite a level position. I mean, Mickey's very
I mean, Mickey. I from the games I saw, he does seem to be up on the clock most of the time, which
yeah, I think he's very, very sensible with his time management. And, as well as many other things, but. You know, if you think the guy started the tournament with a horrible shock, and since then he's just mowed everyone down essentially. You know, the games have been different levels of difficulty, but a lot of people, I think, would not recover from the first round that Mickey had quite as deftly as he has. Because it's not just that he dropped half a point; he was also a lot worse in the final position. So the whole thing would have been a bit of a shock, I think. But.
Yeah, but I think sometimes such accident can happen. Like, cause sometimes you just didn't feel well in the first game. You can draw against or lose.
No, of course, that's true. And yeah.
And then you come back. So I have seen a lot of such examples. And I would say if you defeat the high-rated players in the first round, it's good, but it's not necessarily to be is a very good thing because you can feel more stressful, and when you play the following rounds, you may not play well. Just like me in this World Blitz. So I played against Malik Josiah in the first game and I won. So
well done, yes.
Yeah, after that, I feel like great pressure, and I had very high expectation of myself, so that I just didn't play well because I was affected by pressure. So I just didn't play well in the following rounds. So
yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, sometimes just having like that draw in the first round take the pressure off a bit. And
I mean, I saw some examples here of people having very good results against strong players, and then they play someone much weaker the next round and they don't really adapt. So you get, say, two very good draws against them.
Yeah, also a lot of the lower rated players in this tournament are actually playing well above their rating.
No, but that's true all the time now, Natasha.
Yeah. So when you're talking to people, they're all saying, "Oh, everybody's so underrated. I'm losing rating points." All the adults are saying, and so.
I mean,
although it looks like the lower rate, there's quite a few lower rated players. Actually, there's
ratings are still messed up because of COVID. That is exactly part of the point.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I played Indy Southcott Myers back in October, and he was still FIDE rated at something like 1800. No, wait a minute. No, even when I played him in January, he was still 1800. I mean, that's completely ludicrous. You've seen what he's been doing here. Okay, the last couple of rounds, he's kind of things have caught up with him a little bit. But I mean, he drew with Hebbs and Keith or something like that, and he's been battling on almost equal terms with very strong players.
Yeah,
1800. No, thank you very much. That's not the sort of pairing we're looking for.
Well, yeah. But actually, it's great, right? It's really great that there's so many players improving so much. you're not
it's great because
it's really great, and their ratings will catch up.
But it is very tough to play opens now.
Someone last night, and they were just saying, right, we've got to get all the kids to go and play in like France and Spain and places, and pick up a whole load of rating points, and then come back.
But they seem very underrated. But when they play international junior tournaments, it looks like the other people's juniors are very underrated. You know, they're losing points.
I agree. I also say that our kids are doing really well in international tournaments at the moment.
Yeah, but not as well as I feel like they ought to be doing when I see how well they play back home sometimes. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Anyway, so having said all that, let's look at some kids' games. Let's do this thing. Who do you want to? Where should we go? How about let's go to board 5, and let's. I'm just. I can't get there. Let's look at Ian playing against.
Oh wow!
The moment I do this, of course, then our juniors are not going to be doing well. But let's see. Let's see this one. Come on, Declan. Shall we actually? Let's quickly do Ian, and then we'll go to Declan. Because Kellogg 100 is saying, "Come on, Declan, he's my son." So, Kellogg, tell us which board your son's on, and we'll do him next. Okay, let's have a look at this one. All right, so we have a knight of 3, knight of 6, g3, g6. Oh, board 1. Sorry. Sorry, apologies, Kellogg. But Declan, how old's Declan though? He is a junior, is he?
I have no idea how old he is actually.
I'd imagined he was a little bit older. I know he's a young player.
Yes, it was an easy question.
Okay, so we have need coffee. Yeah, thank you. 22 years old. Coffee. Actually, I've got a coffee. I've got a coffee here. I'm gonna maybe have a bit of coffee in a moment. Okay, so Ian has been having a great tournament. Let's just see. So apart from Mickey, he hasn't lost any, and
he drew with Korneev, which is a good result.
Korneev, yes, very good. Okay, and to be fair, let's see also how Marin's been doing. So he's also he's won or lost every single game, no draws so far, and has played quite a lot of strong players actually in there. So good tournament for him too.
Yeah, I think he had some difficulties against Harriet at some point, but then he eventually managed to prevail in the later stages. But that was a pretty big game from both players' point of view, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So Black's presumably trying to head towards e6 and maybe d4, possibly one day, perhaps g5 with a knight. Yeah, one knight to e6, the other one to g5 via h5. I mean, via playing h5. But white, no, if Black goes h5, White will presumably go h4. So I don't know where that leads.
Yeah. So we could get both these in.
Yeah. I don't know. This interesting structure where White's quite flexible, but I'm not sure if White's trying to go f4 or... I think White's trying to go f4, isn't it? That makes the most sense.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Oh, knight h5. Okay. Now, where's he trying to go with that? Oh, I know what he's trying to do. Iron's trying to get f5 in.
Yeah, I wonder if he's... Okay, and does he have some...
Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. Queen b6.
What's the point of Queen b6? Preventing for?
Yes, Queen b6. So it isn't threatening. I was saying it's threatening this, but it's not because that's just defending.
Yeah, I was wondering what Black was intending to play if White played f4. It sort of feels like knight f5, knight h5 would put me off f4 a bit. Maybe it's just to do with trading the dark square bishops, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Thanks for the follow, Arsene Wenger.
Okay, bishop f3. Okay, so he's sending it.
Knight's going back again.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Bishop c3, h5. King h2, h4.
Oh, so he doesn't go h4. So Black does get the h4 in, which I thought is what Black wanted, but
takes. Oh, this is exciting. So White's taking off. That's an interesting decision, isn't it? Whether you
The things are now the knight can't go to h5. Otherwise,
Exactly, yeah.
the bishop is in g2, then knight black has knight h5, then knight 4.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I think probably maybe black was wrong to go h4 when the h5 square is covered, because, you know, on the one hand, the h4 may be quite difficult to win back, and also white may have h5 at a good moment sometimes.
Yeah, and the g file's now open, so
well, exactly. It may be black's white's better prepared. Well, on the other hand, queen is still hitting f2, so a bit of preparation.
Okay, yes, that one's on.
But
okay, so iron knight h7.
Okay.
Okay, and white comes in with bishop g4.
Okay.
So that's maybe is white just going to launch up with f4? I wonder.
Yes, we play at f4 later.
And f4, yes, he is. f5.
And f5. Wow. Okay, it's all happening now.
All happening. Bishop f3. Takes.
Oh, did black have to take on e4? I don't particularly like putting white's bishop on e4 like that unless I have a good reason.
Yeah.
So if black had played knight takes f4 or something, or even maybe e takes f4. I'm not sure.
E takes f4 seem to be good.
Okay, so what, like here?
I just don't like bringing the bishop to e4 unless I have to.
Yeah.
Although maybe you're going to have, maybe after takes and rook g1, maybe we're going to have to anyway or something. Is that possible? Yeah, takes and rook g1. Is that serious?
Takes here.
I think so.
And then rook g1.
Because the thing is, I think we can allow the queen to invade on f2 if we have rook takes g6 at the end of it. So bishop takes c3 and queen f2, I suspect, will end in tears for black.
Yeah, because this g6 is on priest.
Well, you'd think. I'm trying to finish it off after king f7, but I think I'll assume that must be very dangerous for black.
Question in the chat: will Indy become a GM one day?
Someone asked me that the other day. It's such a hard question to answer with all these people. The most impressive thing about Indy is probably speed of progress, and I don't know. He seems to me to be at his best, sort of neutralizing stronger players as I see him at the moment, and I want to see more of him sort of doing very positive things and taking the lead. But I'm very impressed with him and his attitude, and I think it's a distinct possibility that he might.
Cool. Yeah,
he's a very, very nice kid as well. I mean, that's also important in these things. Oh, by the way, I think if takes on z3, and I'd be very tempted to take on g6 and maybe just go rook g1 after. I think that's suicidal for black.
Just put this in between.
Oh, no, sorry. I was going to take on c3 first. Allow queen f2, go sort of rook g2, rook takes g6.
They're not going to take on
f3. Yeah, queen f3, rook takes g6, and king here. And if I'm not sure. I mean, I couldn't see a clear mate because the rook on f8 is defended by the knight, so you can't just go queen g7, rook e6, and mate immediately. But it just seems inconceivable to me that this is playable for black.
This looks very scary for black.
It looks very scary, but I was just wondering how to finish it off.
Although,
that's what I mean. The problem being that
this one's on prise, isn't it? So
yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's still vaguely interesting.
Oops, no, I'm playing silly moves. Right.
Yeah, rook g1.
How about we try queen d7 and see what happens after king d8?
That's the spirit.
Oh yeah, and what, rook here?
d6, yeah, king d8.
Yeah, this is the bit. Oh, sorry, we've got rook d6 check. I'm losing the plot. Okay.
Oh, quick rook here. Yeah.
Even here, it's not mate yet, is it? Because there's king c8. But...
And queen d7 and king d8.
Yeah, king b8 and.
So here, that one.
Well, maybe, but after king b8.
b8. Yeah, right. The trouble is, if white doesn't deliver mate, then black will come back and At
So
least 4, you would think.
I mean, there are different ways of doing it. You could throw in a rook g1 at some point as well.
Yeah, at some point, like after king c8, you don't play queen d7, but instead you play g1. This looks,
or even before rook. One of those is going to be very good, I think, because you deal with the checks and you're still threatening queen h7 all the time. And
that's true.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very clear.
The knight looks to be captured. I mean, that h7 knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you've got to go rook g1 to stop the perpetual, though. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
All right. Actually, they've played some more moves, so let's see what they did. So here,
but he took on e4. Yeah, I wish I wasn't.
E4, yes.
But of course, it does mean that the rook is also trained on f4, which might be important.
E takes bishop g7. So this could be quite dangerous for black. Queen takes queen c3, and king out to h6.
Well, okay, yeah, which is probably where you have to go, yeah, because
rook g1, rook f6.
Okay, so white could take a bundle of stuff, but then there's a queen f2 check at the end, yeah. So queen f6 and taking on g6, f6, and e6 isn't any good because of queen f2 at the end.
Oh, so you're talking here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give up my queen anyway. She's a bit of a doom. Oh, there's a king h5. Sorry, I just assumed the king had to go back. King h5. Okay, so kind of ridiculous anyway. But
black can kind of get some kind of stuff.
No, it's just if the only argument against all that was queen f2, you might have looked to throw in c5 first or something. But I don't think it's. This is clearly not the way to do it. Let's keep arguing. That's a really good strategy.
So d4, kind of blocking.
Okay.
And d5 there. And that's where we're at.
It's a very positional interlude in the middle of this.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's nice. Yeah, it's like they took a time out to do some positional stuff.
Why not?
Great.
Yeah, I mean, white now still have kind of 1 hour and 3 minutes, so that's quite a long time. And it's like kind of 30 moves already.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's quite a good thing. Because I usually like encounter time trouble. Like when I was 30, when I reached 30 moves, usually my time only has kind of 10 minutes or something like that, or 20 minutes. So I think that's quite impressive.
You must be very familiar with the position then, to have an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, so
I assume that bishop takes g6 isn't working here, but I thought it might just be worth checking.
Takes.
I
guess you just take.
Takes, yeah, and then I wanted to go something like queen d3 check.
Yes.
Followed by rook g1. Well, I want to keep the king having to defend the knight on h7.
So king maybe.
And then if king h6, I want to go rook g1 and see how far that takes us.
G1.
Oh, that's
We're trying to come in here. So maybe we defend that with
knight f8. Which knight?
Yeah, which one? The h1 probably.
Which one?
Yeah.
That one?
I think if you defend with e1, knight takes f4 is very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The f1, and then I want to try queen f5 or something.
Yeah.
But now queen c7 might just defend. I mean, I might have been getting a bit excited.
Queen c7.
Yeah.
Queen here.
Yeah, this just depends. I think we can just. I think.
Oops, I've got all these squares. Oops, sorry. That's not what I was trying to do. So maybe queen.
Yeah, king h7, and that's probably.
And that's going away.
Yeah.
So maybe this isn't much for white.
No, I think it's probably not much. I suspect white can. Maybe it's probably a draw or something, but not more.
Yeah.
Maybe not even a draw. Okay, so that it's good news for black if white can't do that because it's obviously the sharpest thing to look at first.
Okay, and we've got just another couple of moves in now: CD and bishop D.
Right, that's more.
That's where they're at.
But now black has sort of the queen connecting with the defense in a way that looks kind of quite interesting. So queen d6 or something.
Okay, so queen d6, let's say. Yeah.
That's also not necessary. I mean, just rook f8 threatening some f3 and queen d6 also looks interesting. It suddenly feels like, black.
Oh, actually, we have another move. He's gone Iron's gone F3.
Oh, that's the other thing. I was
Just
trying to
D6.
prepare
Yeah.
F3, but if it doesn't need preparing, that's even better, of course.
Yeah. So I suppose you have to sort of block. Oh, okay. He's
Yeah, I assume he takes it. That's why I wanted to prepare it with Rook F8 or something. But if you don't need to, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. F3 immediately is quite attractive because it's tempting for white to play bishop F3 against any preparatory move.
That may be true.
Knock it off.
Yeah, no, that's a good thought. That's a good thought. Okay, so
computer hates F3. Okay. We haven't got the computer on here, so we don't notice. But yeah, okay, that's interesting to know.
Because probably black doesn't have any further moves.
Yeah. Black's not attacking, really.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't feel like, I quite like black's dark squares, but on the other hand, he has 2 pawns down, and if you had to make a bet on the more vulnerable king, it's not clearly white's. I don't think it might be white's, but it's not that obvious.
Yeah. He can bring his other rook in, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think that's coming. Is white self-pinning or going king h1? White self-pinning. I shouldn't have posed the question in such a pejorative way. Self-pin. It wasn't meant to be pejorative. I genuinely didn't know what to do there.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we leave these ones to?
We could, although it is a very interesting position.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Very
we can come back to it, can't we, and see.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's see. Who do we need to see?
Shall we do a really quick look at the next few boards that we haven't seen? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't see board 4 yet.
We didn't even see Daniel, did we? No.
No. Let's see this. Okay.
And so it looks like Black's acquitting himself fairly well as well. This is the guy who
beat Matthew Turner this morning.
Matthew Turner very convincingly.
He's been having he's a young player. He's been having a really good time.
Is that right?
Malaysia, I think.
Oh, Malaysia, sorry. Is
that right? Malaysia. Mongolia, sorry, Mongolia. Mongolia.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
This looks
I think a lot of players from Mongolia are just underrated a bit. Yeah.
I'm sure this guy's underrated. Yeah.
I remember that in the Olympia, the Mongolian team just defeated a lot of strong teams. Like the women's section, they defeated the United States and also other kind of strong teams.
I think Mongolia has always been more of a force in women's than the Open, yeah, on the whole.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I think so. I played a Mongolian guy with sort of 23 something some years, and I didn't have the feeling he was underrated, but I have seen some others who clearly were.
Oh, I've also played 2300, and I think she's okay, like the same strength as me, like before. That was like 4 years ago. But probably for the younger one, the lower rated one, they're underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this guy's certainly been doing well. So
Black, but why did Black just play the rook into F4?
I guess
is she trying to go
G4,
right?
G4 and
yeah. Okay, so
wants to be able to meet Rook H6 with G4 specifically.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Okay. Rook H6.
We're about to see, I think.
Expecting G4 here.
Yeah. Okay, and there's flicking.
Before we had, and then Rook H7 check.
G4 happened, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes, this has all happened. This is the position. And I mean, we should say Daniel also has been having a really good tournament.
Rook H4 is a sign that white.
You can take with check.
Yes, and then King F2, and then I'm not sure what your next move is. I think the thing is that if white took on G4, then it's very difficult for him ever to get any counterplay, because whenever he tries to double on the 7th rank, black's always going to have rook takes c4, kind of exploiting the weakness and defending c7 at the same time. I think the fact that all white's pawns are on the same file that black wants to be on for defensive reasons, it meant that those kind of lines were in danger of being good for black rather than anything. But I suspect black in this position might try and play some... Yeah, I guess this is the tricky challenge. It's not actually that obvious what black plays here. By the way, was rook takes f3 out of the question?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, rook takes.
I was sort of thinking rook takes g4, and then rook takes c3 is still in time to take on c4 if white doubles on the 7th again. So I suspect that after rook takes c3, maybe white had e5 or something in mind, and perhaps that was a bit of counterplay black didn't want to have to worry about.
So rook takes c3 here.
Yeah, maybe, but...
Yeah.
And now, of course, if you go rook e3, then I can go rook g7 and you're not taking on c4 anymore, so...
Yeah.
But...
So you'd have to...
And in principle, if you start checking, I guess the king can go to h4 as long as you're not checking in a way that allows a skewer. So maybe this was sensible to avoid for black. I'm not sure. Although I think it's, practical decisions rather than black being in danger of being worse or something. But who knows? Who knows? So the position after king f2 is quite hard to... I'm not quite sure what black's next move is. But I'm not sure what white's next move is.
Trade off the rooks and then bring your king out.
I suppose that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea, because if rook h3, if white wants to play rook h3, black can play rook f4, capture e4 pawn, and then, well, they traded. And if king e3, then f2, the pawn promotes.
Yeah, you can't move your king. That's, well, king f1 is legal, I suppose, but not that much. Doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if white ever goes rook h3, black can play rook f4 and then have, if anything, slightly the better of that transition. So
is black then slightly better?
e5? Is that
E5.
taking risk, I wonder? It could well be. So my idea is that if you go king e6 or something, I'm just going to go to the 7th rank and start trying to take some of yours. It's a very scientific description.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure at all. Yeah, I feel reasonably feel like with best play this ought to be a draw, but I mean the position as a whole. But I'm not even sure who sort of has better chances of.
Yeah.
Is this the game?
This is it. This is where they're at.
Oh, this is what they did. So they did your suggestion.
They did my plan. Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Casares Angelo. Okay, fine. Let's leave them in their rook and pawn ending. Should we check in on Declan and Mickey?
Oh, okay.
And so we've had knight f4, knight f1. So Mickey's lined up both his knights on the back rank.
Yeah, so why not queen f3 rather than knight f1?
What would you play after queen f6 or something?
Queen f6, can I take the f4 and then h5?
I might take with the queen.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing it anyway.
But
then e4 hangs.
Yeah,
E4's
hanging.
Although, yeah. And take on e4?
Take on f4 probably?
And then I might just play knight f6 or something and try and go g6 and bishop somewhere and hope d5 is a bit weak.
Yeah.
At least I think black's okay here for sure. Well, reasonably okay.
Yeah, looks quite okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Knight F1.
Well, what I like, one of the things I like about what Mickey's doing is I feel like he's managed to achieve a position where he's better off not having played H3. I like the way he's making use of that little difference from most of these kind of positions, because normally you have H3 in already in most of these closed Spanishes. And
okay, and that would be a
I
weakness.
think it makes it easier to go G3, for example. If you want to kick that horse out of the way, it's sort of sometimes easier not to have H3 on the board.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Declan, did your move, Lisa? Queen G5, I think you suggested.
G5.
Yes.
That is
King H1. And Queen back to G6.
Okay. So, yep, hitting the E pawn, I think.
Yeah, and Knight G3 defending.
Mm-hmm.
And H5.
This is where they are at the moment, but H5, yes, could be.
Well, H5, yes. H5 is what?
Declan's been having a good tournament, hasn't he? Let's just see what he's been doing. So he just beat I saw that, Mark Hebden.
Oh, so he didn't play the first round, or
did he miss the first couple of rounds?
Yeah, first 2 rounds. Maybe he took a halftime bye.
Yeah,
half-point bye. Yeah, I'm not sure. No, but it shows 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. He clearly missed 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So he dropped half a point only to Abigail Vising, who's also had a good tournament.
She's had a good tournament too. We can look at her next.
Yes.
Yes, he's been doing very well.
It might be an idea to do junior roundup next, because there's a few of them battling.
All right. Go on, then. Tell me which one. We're gonna. I just said Abigail, so let's see Abigail.
Yeah.
Where's Abigail? Here we go. Abigail against Indy. There we go. So that's.
There we go. Yes, nice.
Talking about them both. So, okay. So here we go. So she's doing a kind of Carlsbad structure.
It looks very textbooky position. This. Like Black's restraining E4 nicely and keeping good control of the E4 square, but White's kind of doing sensible things. Has a knight on a good post as well.
Okay, so Declan took the buys in the first 2 rounds because he was at work.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, Declan.
Yeah.
You see, because that's why this schedule, for the people that are working, actually, it makes this that you still can play a lot of.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I quite understand why it's done. I just think it's pretty tough, particularly on the older players. But no one cares about them anyway. So.
Well, that's not true. We're always bigging up the older players.
I think they tried
to care about them because we are them.
Exactly.
I think they tried to put the tournament in the half-term break of school.
Yes.
Yes.
No, this is
good. They tried to finish with
it. Worked because there were lots of juniors out there. Which is
yeah.
Thanks for the follow, Ganglefuss. Okay, so this one. So what's actually happening here? We've got Bishop Knight against 2 knights. Rook coming in. Where's Indy going?
Yeah, so plan A for White would be to try and go F3 and E4, but that's almost impossible, I think. So I guess plan B could be to try something with B4, A4, and B5 sort of.
The usual, the kind of minority attack type.
Well, kind of, yeah. But Black may be in a position to stop that with. I don't know. No, not B5's not so easy to do. I'm not sure what Indy's plan with Rook D6 is, but
maybe it's defending C6. I was going to say to try and get B6 in, but then you can go Knight A6.
Yeah, then you've got to defend A6 somehow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black's got quite a nice position for stopping White from doing things, but I'm not sure. what the next step is for black if we're trying to form a plan. Yeah. It's one of those things you sort of feel like white's bishop isn't that great, but on the other hand, black can never challenge that knight and exchange it off, because then d takes, the bishop suddenly becomes a monster. So it kind of, as the Russians used to say, even the worst bishop is better than the best knight, which is obviously not true, but they do have their kind of long-term potential.
And Abigail, we should say, she's the British under-16 champion, isn't she? I'm pretty sure she is. Out of boys and girls, yeah.
Losing track of how old some of these people are these days now.
Yeah.
But she's clearly been there or thereabouts for many years.
Yeah.
Top girls. Okay, this is quite an intense position.
Interesting.
Well, it's quite interesting without being that obvious what to do next for either side in a way. Who else is doing? I mean, I saw Rukia Rida is doing great now. She has
Let's see her. Yes.
Very good win. Was it this morning? I think. So she's on 4. I think.
Let's see.
Yeah, there she is.
Did you see her?
She's on 26.
There we go. Let's do it. Okay. Blue Grey Hazer can answer your question. Lisa is planning to defend her British women's title. We covered it earlier in the stream.
Because last time I just had a better luck, but this time probably I'm not sure. I just try my best.
Oh, you're so modest. You've played well. Yeah.
Okay, this looks quite tough for black actually.
So okay, black's king can't castle, so it's tricky to get this rook out.
Yeah, I think the main problem, the knight looks like, well, it would be nice on f4 if white didn't have a g pawn, but I think it's going to be evicted, and opening the d file with anything takes d5 is going to be extremely dangerous because of rook d1. And
yes, black better not
be very hard. The first thing she has to defend f7 somehow, but I'm not sure even what she has in mind next if white goes g2.
Could she try and just counter-attack, ignore everything, and go for like?
Well, the trouble is when I take on f7, I'm threatening rook d7 check probably, and that's it's quite bad news.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it looks a bit grim.
Okay. All right. That's that one. Let's see. Oh, I promised another junior player that I would look at his game, which is Harry Bryant. I promised him.
Oh, okay.
Where is he though? Shout anyone who can see Bryant.
Shout if I see him. You don't know how many points he's on or anything.
36.
36.
Thanks.
Oh yes, there we go.
Oh, he's lost already. Oh, dear.
He's already finished.
Too late. We can see the final position, and then we'll not linger on it. Okay. Oh, that looks
like painful.
Painful. Okay. All right, Harry. We won't go into too much depth on that one.
Can we just see Harriet? How's Harriet doing?
Let's see Harriet. Yes. Do you know which board?
I just saw her as we went past.
There she is. Okay, Harriet. Interesting position again. So we've got an A pawn. If we are Harriet.
Yeah, it's obviously not
like kind of pieces.
Can't defend it with rook b1, but
a rook b1. You said.
No, I said it's sorry. Annoying. She can't go to a1, so she'll have to defend it. But on the other hand,
she's on a7. So then
I still think when you said she has an a pawn, you kind of summarised the position fairly well from the start. That's the most salient factor, I think. Because I think can't white sort of go rook b1 to b7 and rook a6 to h6 and bishop e6 mate or something like that. I don't know. Looks like that's what I'd like to do if I was white.
So rook b1 next.
I think so. Since you can't go to a1, you might as well. Well, I think you might want to go to b1 anyway. Actually, rook b7, rook a6 looks like a pretty fearsome plan.
And going to there.
That needs something pretty serious against that.
And then we go into there, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think Harriet is doing just fine.
Fine. Excellent. All right. Let us see. Let's see this one actually. Matthew Payne against Peter Roberson. Oh, look at these little.
I like the horses. That's a nice.
Oh, gathered in the middle of the board there. Oh, because again, yeah, I think both these players are also having good tournaments. I think because he was up on board one against Mickey last round, and Matthew, we saw him in the commentary with this
Matthew
amazing.
Payne, I think, had a particularly very good
he's doing an amazing tournament, plus 47 rating points.
Yeah, no, he's had a very obviously notably good tournament. I think.
Yeah. Oh, the bishops quite nicely patterned too. They are. Yeah. It's a very geometric game, this one.
So.
It's not tactics.
Yeah, it's supposed to go knight d4 or something. What's white intending to do?
Okay, so it's blacksmith.
It seems a shame to ruin the knight formation, but you have to.
Yeah, but we could set up another one if he went knight d7.
Yes, I think Pete might be quite pleased to see that move.
No, you could. You genuinely could, because then e7's on yours.
Oh, yes.
Okay, sorry. Be sensible.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to see what white is planning in it. Does white have some tactics here?
Well, I mean, you might.
If there's a knight g6,
like knight g6 and knight e7.
We can always take on f3 first, can't we? And then
doesn't really work. I'm thinking about knight e7 then knight g6, but doesn't
okay, that may be.
doesn't really look good for white because that will have more material and the white doesn't have enough compensation. Also, like as you said, knight f3 is not so good for the structure of white.
Okay, but knight e7. So knight e7 and knight g6. What's black's next move after that?
Probably just
take
knight f3 first. Yeah. And
sorry, knight f3 first, and then that's going to be good.
And probably queen f6,
queen
f6 or something like that.
Yeah. So white might have won something like a pawn, but
this
is pretty horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Yeah. Pete's a little. Oh, they both used a lot of time to get to move 17. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether knight d4's the move you want to play, I would have thought if the tactics work, because I think you can always go bishop 8. Oh, sorry, you can always play f6 against sort of bishop h4 type ideas. So, white's just put the bishop on f3. I would have thought you first explore whether you can annoy it.
He's played something else. He's played actually knight f5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there were lots of ways to hit bishops with knight. I had a feeling the knight formation was going to be disturbed at this moment. Okay, so the key thing, I think, is that knight f6 check doesn't work because you play pawn takes, and then after bishop b7 you hit the knight. It's probably quite important.
Yes. So,
is that 100% definitely true? Because after you... Oh, sorry, you take the knight. Yeah, you don't hit the knight. Yes, of course, you take the knight. Yeah, if you moved the rook, knight c6 would actually be... Then it would be complicated again, but just taking the knight is clearly the point. So there are no things like that. So can we go back? Yeah, knight f5. Makes sense. Sending this.
So knight will probably come in to d4.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, I get. I mean, black may well be intending to try and take both knights, bishops with knights, the way things are going. But the d5 knight obviously needs a solution straight away.
But well, oh, yeah, okay. I sort of feel like there's something against this.
You'd like to try it, but I don't know.
You'd like to try knight f7, but you have to go king takes.
If you're trying to just simplify and kind of equalize for white, is there anything drastically wrong with knight f4 now?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about it because
so that if if you take on g3, we can take on b7, and if you take on
on f3 first and then take on g3.
Yeah,
I feel that
no, it's a little.
Oh, you can't, because knight g3 can take on the e6 knight first.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, that's what I was trying to do. I was hitting e6 as well, and I don't know. Here, I wondered if we might just get a position with these two exchanged, and
so maybe this one takes like that then.
Well, no, but I think that's what White's trying for. If White wants to be, equal or only fractionally worse. I was trying to avoid worse minor piece exchanges. It's not a very ambitious idea for White, but it may be a practical one.
Yes. How about knight d4? Is woman knight e d4 for
knight here, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And knight takes, then take with the bishop or the queen, because I'm going to take your g3 bishop to just keep the position of the bishop versus the knight. So that
I also wonder if it feels slightly odd, but if you take with the pawn, you might actually get pressure on the c file quite quickly.
Oh yeah, this is also a good idea.
My knight on f4 feels a bit clumsy, and I'd rather have it on f3 or e4 or something like that. Not sure. But I think I don't want to take on d4. I think I'd rather try and play c3 or something and see if I can kick your knights out. And
so here, yeah.
I think I want to go c3 and just take back on f3 with the queen if you take, and say, okay, you've got bishop against a knight, but maybe you haven't got that much else
to take. Just like
I don't think you even need to take immediately. You could try h5, see if my bishop's a bit embarrassed. Is that? Oh, sorry, knight h5. Sorry. Okay, knight h5 works. Yeah. So don't go h5. Yeah, probably if you take on g3. It doesn't feel to me like White's position is so terrible.
Yeah.
But of course, Black has plans like b4, which maybe you should go b4 straight away instead of taking, actually, because then if I take, then I'm conceding a d4 square again, for which you probably want the knight, perhaps. b4.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean, Black's certainly a little better in these positions. How much it is, I don't know.
How about rook c1? Try to hold the structure.
B or E? B.
This one, B to c1.
That one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I still think this may be sort of practical way to play for White. But it's a practical way that recognises that Black's a little bit better, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
White wants to do something with the f4 knight because it looks a bit awkward.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. You can put it on h5, but I don't think it has much point after bishop h8.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gone. So we had knight f4, bishop takes f3.
Did he do that?
Yeah, and knight takes f3.
Yep. So this happened, yeah.
Yes.
Well, the players have played something we looked at. What about that, Natasha? Good. Okay.
All right. Shall we have a look at some more? Should we go back to board 1 and just check out how that's going? So we left it.
Oh, we got h5, yeah.
Knight f1, queen e5, king h1, queen g6, knight g3, h5 happened.
It happened, okay.
And h4. So Declan is attacking Michael Adams.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and Mickey's thinking here, yeah?
He's having a think. Yeah.
Again, it's worth noting that black's down to 13 minutes.
Yeah, but how should white like continue? Because I'm thinking about knight e2, then black can go knight e3 again, probably.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
This
in this
one?
position, knight. Yeah. Okay, but after... Probably I should take that with the bishop, shouldn't I? I mean, I certainly shouldn't take it with the knight, but I think I should take it with the bishop.
And not take it with the knight. Yeah.
I don't want to take it with the knight, no. That would be very foolish. Oh, if you take with the pawn, I can take on f4, and I think I'm going to emerge.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not denying there's still going to be some sort of... No, actually, I might even deny black's temporary, because I think after e takes, I can take the d pawn first and threaten to take on f4 with the knight.
Okay.
And that probably is quite a I think that might... Okay, you still have the move h3, but I don't really believe it. Whereas if you take with a knight, that might be a bit more...
That might be better. Yeah.
Like it.
Threatening that one.
Threatening that one, I was on to that as well, actually. Yeah.
If white takes, then knight c1, try to win the d3 pawn.
Yeah, then I assume black will play f5 and just try and keep...
f5 is powerful, yeah.
Well, I just want to keep some pressure. Yeah, this is a decent counterattack for black.
So, but what if takes then? Or you just take here?
Yeah, I just take here. Then I might flick in h3 so that you can't play g3. I have queen takes e4 check.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I think, this is clearly the sort of thing black would like. Pretty sure Mickey must be trying to avoid this.
Yeah. Oh, he's played a move though. So let's see what he did. So knight f5.
Oh, of course, yeah. If he has knight f5, he should go. I didn't notice he had knight f5. It's quite important. Although, there's still things to be looked at. So.
And I'm thinking about h3, then g3 probably, then knight e3.
Or knight takes d5 here. Is knight takes d5?
Oh, wait, yeah, this. But you can play knight takes.
Oh, then knight h4. Sorry, knight h4.
Yeah, knight h4.
Yeah, knight h4 is not good. Okay, I had wondered about that without h3, so that then we can hit. Then the knight would. Okay, the knight gets to take the h pawn, but then it is itself on threes maybe.
So here, what do you want?
Well, I just wondered about knight takes d5, and I guess white plays knight takes h4, and we go queen h5 or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a very strong idea of what happens next. Yeah. Doesn't look ridiculous for black, because taking the d pawn isn't just sort of a pawn. It also gives us perspective for trying eventually to play d5 or something. I don't know. It gives us some
stuff. Yeah.
I suspect Mickey will be fine enough.
What's he doing with it? Is he going to do something with these rooks, or is that's later?
Eventually, it's kind of latent, isn't it? It's been like that for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure you would double rooks if you anticipated the extent to which the centre and the king's side was going to open up. It kind of feels like you might, that's something you want to do while the position is more closed. But I think black, it may be that Mickey's got everything sorted and is doing fine, but I think black can be quite pleased with the counterplay he's generated. You sort of feel in sympathy with his efforts, but I think this is a very key moment. I think black needs to find the right way here. Any other ideas? I mean, if we take on f5, I don't want to do that, and then play queen. At least the d pawn, d5 pawn's a bit weak, but those feel like the wrong exchanges to me. I really want that bishop on c8. I think. Yeah,
I'm still thinking about h3, g3, then knight to d3, and.
Like d3. Okay, no,
like this, threatening there. Yes. Okay. All right. So what does white do about this?
Probably.
Sorry, that's a very important thing. Yeah, absolutely. So,
has to take with a bishop, or
certainly the first thing I'd look at. I think.
Have the knight in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what if c? takes d3.
So he takes.
Because I want to keep the knight on e1. Knight doesn't seem to be good.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got a feeling white might be either move. White might have in mind the idea of supporting the knight with g4 rather than retreating it. So you stop all of black's. Well, not all off, but you stop some of the pawn breaks with f5 and stuff, which could happen if the knight retreated.
Now we have a move by black, which wasn't the ones we were looking at. It's queen h5 has been played.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's complicated because all the minor pieces are here, and all of them are traded. And I would say for white, if one of the knights are traded, maybe it will be easier because white will have larger space. And
so, Lisa, in that case, if you want to exchange, how much do you want to just take then?
Probably not. Probably I will think about if it's ideal to trade a knight with a knight, or with a knight with the f4 knight. That would be great.
Oh, he's gone 93, yeah?
Played 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and he's cutting out this tactic on
yes,
h5.
which he may have, after queen h5, it's, well, there's still a lot to discuss because you could meet knight takes d5 and knight takes g7 or something. There's a lot to assess, but I kind of think that knight takes d5 would have added dynamics to black's position. Mickey will also have a very good sense of playing moves that make it hard for black to play in time trouble.
What about still h3?
g3 has to be played.
And then back to the old knight d3 stuff again.
Okay.
Then bishop take.
And Blue Grey Haze is telling us the computer says this is the position on the board is a slight advantage to black.
No, I can believe that. I'm just worried it may not. Well, I'm not worried for Declan that it may not compensate for 20 minutes of time, but it's a very impressive effort by him because it's very hard to outplay Mickey in these openings.
Yeah.
So knight in.
Yeah. Then I guess takes.
Takes and takes. Oh, actually, we were talking about pawn in before, weren't we? And just to leave that knight. Yeah,
but the knight isn't hitting anything anymore. If we go b4 now, are we not just sending it away?
Oh yeah.
And then knight takes d3. That would worry me. That feels like a kind of consolidation for white.
So we have to do one.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think maybe takes and possibly queen f1 or
f1.
Yeah.
So I'm threatening g4 and then taking the d3 pawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So now probably f5 again, but no, f5 you can play e takes and then you have g4 if bishop takes, which is unfortunate for black.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where they're actually. This is the actual position.
Yeah. So, what if black does nothing in terms of those kind of? What if black plays something like g6 to prepare f5? Is it? And possibly even to bring the f8 bishop.
Still f5 straight away, still couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. Well, but after e takes,
he's done your move. He's done g6.
He has, does he? Oh right, okay. That's good. Yeah, I want to play f5. I might even one day have bishop h6 coming in or something. I think more f5. I'm sort of. By the way, not meaning to sound like a broken record, but I think all of these positions are ones where white would rather not have played h3. Although I no longer think that's necessarily such an achievement since black seems to be doing quite well anyway. What's Mickey going to do? Is he going to use those rooks?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, even swap some things off. Because if he swaps some stuff off. But I suppose you want to swap the stuff off on the king's side.
Yeah, because if you can consolidate the king side, then the rooks on the a file are what you'll be looking to.
Oh, he has moved
he
his
has
rook.
moved the
Okay,
rook. It's about
rotation.
time to move a rook on the a file. Also, that gives people, gives black pause for thought about going f5, doesn't it? Because that
Discourages f5, doesn't it?
vaguely threatening, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it may be more than just vaguely threatening. It's not absolutely impossible to go sort of rook c7, rook a7, is it? It's a plan.
That might be what he's doing, yeah. Double up here.
Well, usually the queen is around to stop that kind of nonsense, but the queen is off doing more aggressive duties. So
say black just goes ahead and just plays f5.
Yeah.
Then I'm guessing that we probably take and go rook c7 or something, or at least that's an idea.
Take. One take.
One, rook c7 or something. And now I would be also vaguely looking at sacking the exchange with rook takes c8 and bishop takes f5 if I needed to. That feels like a...
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah.
Gains control of a lot of squares, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of at least... Again, it's all, from Mickey's point of view, I'm sure it's all about practical things for black to have to worry about in time trouble as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very hard for black to play now in such position because black is in time trouble, and it's hard. If black is slightly better, but it's hard to find a plan. So I usually struggle in such situation. Like I just don't know what to do, and especially when you want to attack like f5, you have to be careful with like white's counterattack, like rook c7, and then taking the bishop, something like that.
Mm.
When you don't have time, it's very hard to deal with this.
Yeah.
That's right. I think it may well be that black is slightly better, but it's slightly harder for black to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think rook a7 is very good timing for giving black a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing black could consider instead maybe is bishop e7 to d8. Just try and keep that rook under control. So if it goes to c7, we can go bishop d8, and if it doesn't, then bishop d8 to b6 might not be ridiculous anyway.
So black played rook e7.
Ah, did he? Oh,
rook e7. Okay.
Okay, that's also not a silly idea. Yeah.
So maybe trading one of the rooks will release the pressure on the 7th red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my hunch is that not going ahead with f5 was probably a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does white consider rook a8 now that there's no other rook on the 8th rank? Does that make sense?
Yeah. How about just taking the rook and then try something like rook e8 or rook c7? I mean, if I play rook e8, maybe I can trade another rook in the future, and then I'll just focus on attacking on the king side.
Yeah. Yeah, strange because you sort of think of exchanges as kind of generally favouring the defender, but it may not be. We're not exchanging the key attackers. We're exchanging other pieces, so that it's not so clear.
All right,
So
he's played something completely different. He has played knight g4. So he's trying for his own king and queen.
Okay, that's interesting. Also a good move to set sort of practical problems, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. What he's done, like the bishop was sitting there defending this square. He's kind of, now that the bishop has moved, he's...
Yeah, that's right.
Well, so the thing is that if black plays king g7, it's kind of risky because white can just probably take the f4 knight and queen
d4 check. No, that would be very nasty. Queen h8. I was about to suggest queen h8 might be a good move.
Yeah.
Because I quite like the fact that it bolsters some squares in possible preparation for f5. I don't know. It's a really interesting position. It's quite unusual, isn't it? It's sort of,
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, I think for black, the strategy should be you just you are not in hurry of attacking, but just keep moving and keep exerting pressure until move 40. Oh wait, is there increment?
They don't actually get any more.
Oh, then the strategy is quite different. I mean, if
Oh
you
wait,
don't,
this is all they get. Of course it is. Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
30 seconds a move, I think. So they do get an increment.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
Not an extra. Not an
30
extra.
minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's super hard for black. I mean, in such tournament, the strategy should be different, very different. Like you should play faster in the beginning,
Mm.
and you should probably practice like blitz or rapid games.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, what if you just go, say, here, and try and take that, and then just get your deep on?
Yeah, that's a very reasonable thought. You know, in the Breyer, it used to be that hardly anyone ever played bishop takes c5, and then at some point they decided it was actually quite often a decent. You know, you get left with a rather lousy bishop as well, but the structure is actually quite hard for black to handle. And white started doing that at some point. And you're right, here the deep pawn's a bit of a potential beast. Yeah, I like that idea.
Blue-grey haze feels like now this is a bit like a King's Indian.
Yeah, no, it has got a bit of that about it. There's quite a lot of Spanishes actually end up a little bit like King's Indians, I think.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to still hop around for some other
do
games just so we keep an eye on them. Should we let's see board 3 again. Brandon against Boris.
Did they just have a break or something?
No. This isn't the position. That was what we thought.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
But instead, they did
one of my games.
No, they did different. They did this knight f4. Remember we were thinking Queen
debating
f1,
knight f4,
and that was your move, Lisa.
Is this our line?
This all happened. Yeah, this is our line.
So
d4, rook h5. This was our line.
Oh, without the check. I was expecting the check, but okay. Rook e4.
Thanks for the follow, Jokine. Rook e4.
Actually, we did well here. We analysed important stuff. Yes.
Yeah, we analysed what was going to happen. So here, this is now what they did.
Okay.
King g2.
This is very all in actually, because if white survives this round of attack, a lot of black's bits are still kind of at home, aren't they?
It's true, and actually, Brandon tries now to get this. At least get space for the
space. Some of his other pieces,
Yeah, rook g4.
G4 feels like the right consolidating move. Bishop e7. Okay, they're starting to try and play.
Yeah.
Okay, can we just go back to? No. Okay, so I just had a silly idea, but bishop e4 makes sense. Yeah. So I'm guessing that taking on c6 and something like knight a5 after might already be quite a dangerous counter threat. Hence rook c8. Yeah.
Yeah, so they did take a knight e5. Actually.
Okay, no. I mean, if you
another fork threatened here. We're having a lot of these threats to fork.
Thanks for telling me that before.
I
might suggest rook c3 or something.
Yeah. So don't suggest anything that allows that.
No, indeed.
Actually, so Brandon did take this quite seriously because Brandon then took it.
Yeah.
Which is quite serious, partly because his knight on h3 is still hanging, isn't it? So
takes h5 was played. So if the king takes, we go h5, and the rook's pinned.
Yes, and then black is doing very well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't take the knight, then
he played bishop e3, and this is where they're at. Both players are quite short on time, actually.
My suspicion is that Brandon's perhaps gone a bit all in here.
A bit too all in, you mean?
Yes, a bit too all in.
Yes.
That is my immediate reaction. So I imagine black will want to prevent bishop takes a7 check. and might even want to prevent.
So you could prevent that by playing a6.
Yeah. But I mean, if I...
This knight can't...
Let's say, what if I just get queen b1 or something?
I'm also thinking about this. Just trading.
Enough of all this. Let's challenge your queen, and you can't.
The knight will be heading.
Okay, so we can take on e5. It's not.
Can't I take your horse then? I want to.
Yeah,
take
I take the
horse. Yeah, all right.
That's what I thought you needed. So maybe you have to go queen h5. But again, it doesn't look like plan A for black.
Queen h5 maybe like queen e4 and.
Might even take g7 to try and take h7 as well. I don't.
Yeah, so
you come across as so greedy, but it's.
So you want queen h5, yeah?
Can't I just take g7 and try and play queen takes h7 and say this is this is fairly dire for black unless Brandon has some big idea I haven't seen.
All right. So do we actually have to stop it? Do we have?
You can usually assume if we're avoiding taking g7, it's probably because we haven't seen it or something.
But
in this case, there might have been a better reason.
Can we do something else? Like say. All right. So like what is what you're going to say?
Something like that, yeah.
So what if we put our knight back? Knight here.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
how about just take the a7 pawn and then queen?
Like that way.
Yeah.
We better go that way.
I think you better go to c8. Yeah.
Yeah. Queen e2.
Yeah.
Maybe rook c3.
And probably bishop back to e3 again. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
By the way, sorry, there's also rook c4 check, isn't there, at that point?
Yeah, I saw that. But maybe bishop e3, them threatening something like Regan next move, rook c4.
Yeah, I think if we have a move in this position, we've got lots of good ideas. Rook c4 being one of them, yeah.
All right, so this looks a bit iffy for Brandon.
It does to me, yeah.
Okay.
I missed something big. No, it really did feel like he went a bit all in. I think his knight needed more support for it.
Oh, Nazir's worried, though, that rook c4, there's a queen h3 and knight f3 ideas.
In which position? I mean, I had noticed that, but...
Must be here, instead of... Yeah. So, what we're talking about here, rook c4.
Yeah, no, here I understand. Well, but if we take back... If we get to take on c3... Okay, but then we have rook d1 and queen c8 at the end, I think. It's check, that's the thing.
Yes.
If it's check, we're going to mate black before black mates us.
It is check.
Yeah. So we're going to be okay.
Okay. All right. So this is where we're at. Black's having a think, and it could be tricky for...
I think it is. This is the position, isn't it?
This is it. This is it.
Yeah, it doesn't look pretty to me. I'm just wondering about bishop c5, just in the hope that if you can ever... Yeah, I mean, white's not going to trade. If white trades, at least you get knight f4 check back in the position. But I don't think white's going to trade.
What is still queen b1?
Well, quite. I think that is probably quite annoying.
You could...
queen takes e5? Oh, then you... Yeah, no, then you can take on h3 still, can't you? I don't know about you. I think it just looks bad for white, for black. I mean, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
And it's possible that Brandon did all this because he saw the line we looked at earlier and didn't want to make the draw. In which case, it was possibly not a great judgment. I wasn't so sure that white had better in the line we looked at before. But I'm sure Brandon would have seen the draw. And I can well imagine that he was playing for more. Yeah. He tends to be quite ambitious, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. But of course, that's part of the game. If you constantly play for a win, you have to take risks, and sometimes it doesn't work.
It's true. Alrighty.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
very tough. Yeah.
let's see if we can find
Which
another...
would make, by the way, for an unbelievable day for Golubovic. I mean, he
Okay.
would have beaten Dada in the
Ooh,
morning
Dada in the
and
morning.
London in the
Yeah.
afternoon. That's
Wow.
a tournament
Yeah.
transforming day. That is. Oh,
Yeah.
is Danny drawn? Did I see?
Gormally. You want to see Gormally? Where's Gormally?
Just checking the result. Yes, it was a
He
result.
drew. He drew. He drew.
He drew with this dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous
We're
winner.
gonna find a junior. Let's see Colin O'Shea against Max Pert. See how that one's looking. Ooh. So Colin's got, looks like he's got a bit of an attack.
Well, I think there's a knight g3 on right now.
Knight g3. So if Max could play knight g3 here.
And then the question is, what?
So does white really have any threats? Like, because knight c6 doesn't work, knight can take. So white is nothing in the queen side. So
because you look at something like knight c6 and queen a7.
Well, but knight takes is a problem.
Yeah,
knight takes. No, okay.
It would be disappointing with white to set all this up and find you didn't have a threat.
Have no threat at all. But maybe knight backwards then. Knight.
Yeah, no, maybe. But if that's not a threat, then isn't knight takes f1 and queen h2 quite a powerful way?
Let's say knight takes f1 then.
So
we have to.
Yeah, queen h2 looks
take
very scary to me because we're threatening queen h1 and rook takes g2 check, which mates, I think.
I quite like this bishop on d5 because it's quite powerful in both defending and attacking.
I think the bishop is to be more than quite liked. It's a wonderful.
Yeah, I don't like the knight in such position because it's quite an open position, and knight is quite useless.
Yeah.
This one here, yeah.
Both knight at e1 and a5.
Okay, maybe white can. I don't know. Maybe white can try something with e4 or gaining a tempo to sort of defend g2 again. But it looks very and give the king a path out. But it looks very dangerous for white.
Yeah.
He's done this, yeah.
No, this is.
Oh, these are our moves.
Max is having a think.
Well, I mean, it may well be there are other things to be thought about. I mean,
Queen G3
is not a silly move.
Definitely threatening queen h3.
Queen G3 threatens queen h3, and then queen takes e3 check. It's a pretty, pretty serious option. But I think I don't know. I liked knight g3 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, white is only one move. You can move the knight to threaten mate. It's only a sort of a spare move needed. So
we're going back to board. Okay.
Yeah,
now, Iron's only got 2 minutes left, so he's playing fast. But look at, so we've got the knight coming in on the king side. Right. So white's up material, and black's king looks a bit open to me.
White's still up those 2 pawns, but I don't know. Black's. It feels like there should be a way for white, but then you start to look for a good move and it's not quite so obvious. What about... No, that's not a good move.
How about... Because white would quite like to swap off, right?
No.
So
yeah, if you go rook e3, I can take and queen takes d5 check, and that's going to be more complicated than you want, I should think.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, it's
about
queen c5
then?
Although black's only got a couple of minutes left, in terms of the time situation we left them with. Oh, sorry, white's got 32 minutes. I'm completely. Yeah. I'm losing the. I thought white was low as well. No, okay, so it's very difficult.
Bishop e6.
And as you say, with no time added on at move 40, I wondered about bishop e6. That is a thought. It hits the knight, but
how about knight f3?
Some knight f3, knight hf3 is what I was trying to work out. Oh, is rook takes f3? Is that a move?
Okay.
Rook takes,
no, knight takes.
h4 check. I thought probably knight takes.
Yeah.
complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's not a position I'd want to play with 2 minutes left, I must say.
Mm.
It's like Queen D3 check and knight E4. Oh, wait a minute. No, then there's a queen take. No, there's a rook takes E4 and mate. That's not good. Yeah, this is annoying for white because I think D4 is kind of the optimal square for white's queen, so I don't really want to have to move it.
Mm.
I was trying to make knight E4 work, but I don't think we can really sack our queen like that. I don't think we even get a perpetual. The king can walk all the way down to H4.
So after Queen D3, what's Black's response?
King H8, I suppose. Get that. Oh, then it's knight H5, threatening lots of mates. No, there's rook takes E6. Rook E takes E6, I think.
Well, we've got, and the question is, after knight E4, is there a rook G8 intermezzo?
Ah, that is a question.
So
that would be very annoying for black.
What if you take? Can you take? Oh no, then there's a rook
yeah,
G8.
then your intermezzo is
Okay,
very good.
All right. That's nice.
It's nice.
Wait, how about rook D5?
Rook D5.
Rook D5.
Then I think we got rook G8 check and knight takes F6.
Wait, I mean rook G5.
Oh, rook G5. Sorry.
Oh, rook G5. Sorry.
Looks like a very because I just.
Oh, that's a good move. Yeah,
because this position looks amazing. Like every piece seems to be a.
Oh, that's yes.
Rook G5 is a very good move. Yeah, that's gonna.
Okay, so you have to take the knight. No, you can't.
That's a lovely move. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a very interesting move. Like I just came up with.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's just beautiful.
So how do you even defend? Rook?
You don't. You resign.
You don't.
Rook
You
G2 is Queen H2 check, which is rather nice too.
Yeah. Then probably just taking a knight, Queen F3.
Queen.
Yeah, then you can take on. Oh, sorry, the queen's still out. Gosh, I was.
Yeah. Oh wait. How about rook?
At 95, I forgot the queen was hanging.
Rook takes F3, and then I take the H3.
Queen B6. Yeah. No, the queen's hanging.
Very nice. Wow. Very nice. Oh no! But the bishop's defending it.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the bishop.
Oh, but this line I already wondered whether knight takes G5 with knight F7 check at the end is also not that clear, which is kind of weird. But
it's very interesting.
So rook G5.
How the Queen F3 should be the
Queen F3.
Oh yeah, you have mentioned that rook takes G1 and Queen B6.
And Queen B6 check. That's quite important, isn't it? We win a queen.
Queen B6.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
That is what you have to do. But you might do it with a degree of excitement as well.
Yeah.
Well, then after King G2, I mean...
Here, King G2.
Yeah. How bad is this for? I mean, I don't think this is how white should play the position from 2 pawns up, but it's also not entirely...
You take.
Yeah, takes. Is this trivial? Presumably, eventually. Black.
I mean, you want to get your queen in, don't you, really?
There might be something for just bringing your king to F8. And,
and then move the queen to
and
like
then move the queen.
B3 pawn. And
yeah.
Could be winning for black.
Well, that was crazy. That was fun.
Yes. Okay, so have they played any... They must have played more... Oh, no, he's having a thing. This one's having a thing. Okay, fine. All right. Good. Thank you for recommending that one. Okay, we haven't seen this at all.
Ah, yes. My opponent from the weekend.
Which one's your opponent from?
And your teammate, no?
You mean the Polish one?
Maciej Chopo is your teammate.
Yeah, he is. He is quite strong, I think, according to the games. I saw.
Yeah. Well, he's also quite young, fairly young.
Yeah.
And is Bazakutsu young as well?
I don't know. I don't know at all.
I'm going to have a quick look on chess results.
Oh, I saw the opening here. It just looked like a sort of kind of normal position, except that white had 2 d-pawns instead of 1, basically.
2008, Bazakutska was born.
Okay.
So that makes it, what, 15 years old?
Yes. As you say, it makes it very young by my standards.
Extremely young, yes. Okay, good. Right, 2 young players.
Okay, so white is fairly clearly trying to make some progress fairly directly against the king. So, well, I guess if you take on g4, then f4, f5 is coming with some force. Yeah?
Oh, but what if, I mean, the d4 pawn is hanging?
Yes, I wondered if you should take it straight away. What I was trying to say was I think that the f4, f5 plan is probably even more scary. I don't know if that's more scary than the g takes f5 plan.
That's why the bishop takes first.
But okay, g takes and then rook e1 after takes might be awkward. I don't know. So is rook e1 threatening? Well, it's certainly threatening, but is it threatening very nasty things or just...
So rook e1 like this?
Well, perhaps. I haven't really fully tuned in yet, but that's the first move I'd look at, probably.
Would you take on f2?
I wouldn't, because e6 check just wins,
E6
I think.
Check. Okay. So rook e1.
Oh, maybe it's knight f8.
Knight f8.
The king on e8 and the rook on c7. Like king
yeah,
e8.
something like that. Rook c7 or even rook d8. One of those. Yeah, rook c7 is probably the way.
Yeah.
That may. But can I then go kind of knight f4 now that oh, there's bishop f2 still, isn't it? That's not so simple. Yeah. So
this has happened here.
Oh, this happened. Okay. Yeah, king g3 is probably quite grown up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So black's come into b2. So maybe now you go rook e1.
I just suggest that my rook e1 wasn't a very good move if black's actually trying to force it.
Yeah.
I find that slightly depressing. Yeah. I'm very cautious now. I've learnt my lesson about rook e1. I'm not so excited by it anymore. But I don't know where else to go.
I mean, rook e1 is a dangerous, like in potential danger, like if.
Yeah, but your rook c7 was a good reply. But maybe now it's a bit better. We can go knight f4 or something, because e5 is defended and there's no threat to f2 anymore. Maybe this is a good.
So in the future, is it possible for black to play something like bishop c3 and then bishop a5? I mean, the future after.
Yeah, maybe if you play bishop c3 now, I might even take on d5 immediately with check with the bishop.
Yeah.
And pretend that is a good idea. Yeah, I'm probably only.
Yeah.
Well, you do get to take a6 as well.
Right.
Mhm.
We can take a5.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not massively.
How's that?
1,
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's only a pawn up.
Mhm.
I thought I was a pawn up at the start. In which case, I thought I was winning a bit more than this. But okay. On the other hand, if I can organise.
How about king e6? Then try to play king d5 and king d4.
Yeah, it's our move. I want to. Oh no, it isn't our move. Oh no, it's not even our move. Okay.
So, I mean, if king f4, then bishop d2, then if f4.
Yeah, no, I'm losing control a little bit.
Okay, we have some more moves. So
Yeah.
we have rook
C2. That's
d2, other than rook e1.
yeah, no rook e1.
I tried to give up on rook e1, but people tried to persuade me anyway.
Bishop a3 and king f4.
Yeah, this is very rational. Okay, but now he can at least go king e6 because there's no knight f8 anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I think. On the other hand, it's not very obvious what black's next move is here. That's been played.
Yeah.
That's good. It's not very obvious what the next move is, though.
There isn't any square for white to come in on this c5.
I mean, he's cut the bishop out of some of these central dark squares quite nicely. Can white look at playing d4 or something?
Well, I'm thinking about the idea of bishop g2 and bishop h3. Is that possible?
Yeah. I just felt like defending my pawn first, but you may be right to just get on with it. I was going to go e2 to d3 after playing d4, but your way is simply quicker, probably. So it makes a lot of sense.
Try that then.
Yeah.
g2.
Yes. Yeah, I think Mache is doing a good job, probably, isn't he?
Also, d4 is played.
d4 is played. Okay.
Oh, d4 is played. Okay. It's also kind of nice to support the e5 pawn with a pawn as well, but of course, black can't even play bishop b4 takes a5 because there's knight f8 check anyway. So maybe white just has plenty of time.
So how can black actually defend this f5 pawn?
More fundamental question: how can black even make a move? What black's next move is? Yeah, I mean, you can play rook f7, I suppose, but it's not a pretty sight, is it? Really?
I can just put my bishop on d3 or h3, then knight h4.
Yeah.
Or knight h8, then rook c7. Something like this.
Yeah. Oh, I have after if you put the bishop on h3, maybe after rook f7 you can go knight h8, rook f8, and then rook c7.
Yeah, c7. Yeah, so if rook takes knight, then bishop f5.
Bishop f5 is mate. That's kind of cute.
It's interesting.
Oh, there's bishop d2 check. So I'm getting too excited. That's the way.
Oh yeah, I mean the same.
That's the way to blunder winning positions, is to just get excited by checkmates. Okay, bishop b4. Yeah, but I think the good news for white is that bishop a5 isn't even a threat. So bishop g2 or bishop e2 are both good moves, I think. This looks very, very good for white.
Yeah.
He controlled it nicely. There were lots of sort of tempting things, which, as you saw, I fell for most of them, but what he's done is very sensible. Yeah,
then probably just bishop on h3, then knight on h4, then the pawn will be taken.
Yeah, I think so. Although bishop d3 probably does the job equally well. I think they're both good, aren't they, really? I don't see any counterplay anymore. No, that looks pretty convincing.
Right. I'm going to, given its time scrambles, I'm going to switch games. Let's go back to Mickey and Declan. So we left it here. I'm going to...
Oh, there's only one more move.
No. There's lots.
Sorry.
Here.
Only one rook is traded.
Oh, this is where rook a8 looks like.
Rook c7.
Rook c7.
So black only has 1 minute. So
by the way, that's quite interesting. Before rook a8, if Mickey had wanted the structure which Lisa mentioned earlier with bishop takes c5, white could have had it.
Oh, we're just taking it here.
Yeah, it looks reasonably tempting to me. But I think probably the problem is that maybe I don't know. Anyway, it's just worth noting that white could have had it at this moment if he wanted it. So presumably he didn't particularly want it.
He chose not.
Yeah, he's just very...
G5. Okay. King G1, F6. Takes now.
Yeah.
Rook takes.
Rook takes.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to take at that moment. So Black had to play pawn takes. But
Okay, and he's just getting the 7th rank.
He's just controlling stuff, which he does very well.
F5.
Yeah, it's sort of got an air of
Rook takes.
Slightly desperate air about the counterplay, which wasn't there before.
Oh, because this queen's coming in to b6. Is
well,
that...
also because moves like f6 and bishop h7 check might be in the air or something like that. You know, there's kind of the stuff White has, which White didn't have before.
5 f6 is
would make you nervous, I think. Yeah.
G4, bishop h7 check. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Takes,
exactly.
takes, king takes, queen e4 check. King g8.
Queen e4 check's a nice little detail, I think.
Yeah.
Because that queen coming in is going to extinguish any counterplay we might have hoped to have otherwise.
So now White is just winning, or
so king f7. This is where they are.
just
okay.
I mean, White can just try to capture the g5 pawn by playing something like knight f3 and queen f5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's probably just winning after that.
So does Black have a chance to trade another rook? Because I mean, the a7 rook is kind of annoying before.
Yeah,
it's about round about here. Oh, so here. Rook b7. Yeah,
I suspect rook b7 here might not have been the right move. Maybe this is the moment where you have to hope. Mind you, I was concerned about bishop c5. Could Black have tried f5 here instead of rook b7, maybe? Just to try and get things moving.
Yeah.
It looks risky. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it looks risky, but and it may well be risky.
Yeah. What takes?
I mean, you could almost. No, you can't almost.
Just the knight has to return, right? So White doesn't have any tactics, or
I don't think anything. I was looking at. No, I think the knight's going to have to retreat, isn't it?
like how about bishop c5 first, then
Yeah.
knight?
Okay, but we can take back.
Take the knight first, or take the bishop first?
Could try either, but even if we take the bishop, I don't think you have. Do you have a tactic? I was worrying about g6 and stuff, but I don't think it quite works.
I mean, I can return to e3, so it's a better spot.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a nice, solid move. That's. I think Mickey would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we'll try taking the knight. That's a good idea to avoid that.
So take the knight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, White has to lose.
Bishop to g1?
Well, really? I want my king to have a flight square if things go wrong. But I'll probably play. Maybe. So if I go g3, are you going h3? Or are you...
Yeah, probably h3.
And I can give a piece, but I'm not going to mate you, am I really?
Yeah.
Right, we've got some more moves, so I'm just going to see how they... so we...
I could play knight h5, by the way, after bishop g1 and threaten knight g3.
Oh, yeah, that looks nice. That
might be annoying. I don't know if it slows you down a little bit. Okay, no. This is the kind of thing we thought was going to happen, and I think the g-pawn is going to come forward.
Now White is just completely winning.
I think White's winning, yes.
Yeah, yeah, White is winning. But it was a very valiant effort.
Great game, though. Great game.
Yeah, the king will just get checked back. Queen f5 check.
Let's...
Wow, interesting stuff, yeah.
Check in again on that one. So we
Queen
are...
c5 was played.
Yeah.
Oh, so now the pieces has been traded.
Yeah.
How did they get here? I'm a bit confused how they got here. That's interesting.
We were so Queen C5. We were looking at
Queen C5. I didn't occur to me, but it's probably very sensible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should have occurred to me because you should be looking to change queens with white, shouldn't you? But...
Queen D8, Queen C2.
Yeah, that's a clever little maneuver, probably. Although Queen F8. Okay.
So if
black gets rook f2 in, does that amount to some serious counterplay, or can we just play rook d2? So if we go d6 now, for example.
Yeah. Rook f2 and what? Rook, this rook.
Yeah, and the d1 rook is defended, so there's no queen takes d6 or anything. So.
Queen takes d6 and take on.
Oh, but there is knight takes h3. That's a useful move, perhaps. But I think you just go d7 and say, show me what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is good enough, isn't it?
This is going to queen, yeah.
It is a bit of a runner.
So we've had this actually. D6, rook f2's happened.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep hopping around.
Daniel Fernandez, we haven't seen for a while. I've forgotten even what.
Daniel Fernandez. Here we go.
Why they're still playing?
This isn't the actual position because
that's
we thought. But now it's like this.
Oh wow! So black's advantage was more serious than I thought.
Wow, how can it happen? So I'm curious. So how?
You want to see how it got there? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can have a look.
So we'd seen.
No, I think it's quite equal. Still quite equal. That's good.
Well, defending the 7th rank is probably quite a good start.
But E5's not played. I mean, if E5's played, maybe white is better.
Yeah, we were looking at E5, weren't we?
Yeah.
King D6.
Maybe E5 wasn't such a silly idea.
H5, A6, Rook D5 check, E5.
Really? So he just doesn't want to go passive.
Yeah.
So if he goes Rook D4, how is black making progress?
King.
Okay, and then Rook D7 I wanted to do just.
Well, what if I'm thinking about Rook F7, but the Rook can go to D5 again. Yeah.
Probably, although I keep forgetting about defending the 2nd rank, which is something I should remember.
So here.
Then Rook D5, I think.
D5 again.
This is probably right. That's a.
Yeah.
What if C6, Rook H5, then Rook F4, then Rook H7, Rook takes E4, Rook B7, Rook C4, Rook B6.
Yeah, but this may not be so very different from what happened. It has that kind of feel about the structure.
Although
this is much better for white than what happened.
Yeah.
This is much better for white than what happened.
I can just take one more pawn and might be a draw.
I think so. Black needs a mighty good move here, if not. Oh, and if I take on C... No, if I take on C5, you can even just take on F3, can't you? That's fine. This looks like it should hold to me, but...
Yeah.
Oh, you can try King... No, you can't try King D5. Yeah, this should hold, shouldn't it, I think?
Yeah.
How did they do? So they got to here.
Right.
King d7. Ah. Rook f8.
I'll say here too, it's not so obvious that white's shouldn't be doing okay.
Yeah.
Feels like white could have thrown in c6, an opportune moment before black.
Well, I also wondered about that at some point. That's true. Yeah, that's a good thought. c4, okay. So is white about to be in some kind of zugzwang? Because black is basically moving backwards and forwards and making white use up moves. Is there some zugzwang idea?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Is white about to be in zugzwang?
I think so. King
d7. That might be subtle.
King5, check king e6. So now could white do this c6?
Possibly. But takes rook c5, king d7 again, and it's still...
Yeah.
Oh, then rook e5. I don't know.
Wait, what if rook c5, king d6?
Yeah, sorry, king d6. I was just
better, yeah.
On the verge of correcting myself, but you're right, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so here, what if white reverts back to the old rook h5 to h7 plan? Is that so terrible?
Rook takes c4?
Yeah. Rook h7.
f7? Should I play c6 and...
Yeah, but I'm hoping that's similar to the line we thought was
yes.
Rook b7 and rook b6 again. No?
Oh! Look at this result.
Oh, what happened?
How did this happen? Wait.
Wrong. Like, I mean, sometimes you can show wrong things.
Yeah.
Fact.
This feels like a much less good version for white.
Yeah.
How did white win this?
What?
Queen
oh my God, the result of the game. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh no, that's rather tragic for black.
a6. Okay. As Law says, white blundered on move
Rook f7
and black blundered back.
Yeah, this is a blunder. Rook f7.
Rook f7.
And the rook b8, then black resigns.
The rook b8 just wins. That's a horrific blunder. Okay. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Why black plays rook f7? Because this move doesn't really.
Well, I think you must. I think you're trying to keep c7 or something and play king b6.
He's short of time.
I guess he didn't like something with.
Oh, he's trying to keep hold of his f pawn or something.
What if just king b6 and
king b6? Yeah, and then if a7, then you go rook a7, rook f7 maybe. Yeah.
No, but then why can play? Oh no, I can't play. Yeah, after queen b6, a7, rook f7.
Yeah, king b6, a7. Then I think maybe rook f7 is the right move. Play king b7 next without losing the c pawn, but.
Here.
He did it. Yeah, here, I think. And then king
b7.
b7.
Can't go to anywhere. Yeah, that's true.
But there's unfortunately a very big difference between those two. Oh, gosh.
Yes. Okay.
That is very sad for him. Wow.
Yes.
So was that in quite bad time for him? I guess reasonably.
Yes. I think. Well, he's got 2 minutes left, hasn't he?
So he went rook f7 and white played rook b8 or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, rook b8
and then black resigned.
That was it. Wow.
That's sad for black.
That is really sad, actually. I don't think that's.
And happy for white.
Yep.
I think maybe black should take more time to think in order to avoid blunders, like in such simple position. Because in this kind of simple position, I'll just try to think for more time and maybe for 2 minutes. Only if I just make sure that I don't make any blunders. So maybe
But I think he's only got 2 minutes left, and that's
Yeah,
he's
I
not
know.
winning any more. So I guess
Leaving just 30 seconds, then make sure the position is safe.
no, of course, it's very sad.
Yeah.
I think what happens is you get fixated on looking at particular moves and then forget about other possibilities. Is usually
Yeah, that's a possibility. Like
Yeah.
especially when you play for a long time and you get tired, you get confused.
Yeah, of course. Well, this is the second long. I mean, he had a very long game. Oh, no, he didn't have a very long game. He crushed Matthew this morning, so I know he didn't have a long game. But
Yeah.
okay, but
I'm
it's
probably a bit tired.
well, probably
Yeah.
also excited at the prospect of beating 2 grandmasters in one day. I mean, that's quite emotional things kick in as well, don't they? At that point.
Yeah.
Can't remember when I last beat 2 grandmasters in a day. So. It's quite exciting.
All right.
It's really sad for him, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so White won the game we were looking at with the thumbs up.
Yeah.
White won this one too.
Looks like okay. So Oleg Harigreev was a draw. This one.
Yeah, no, we were right. This was
it was
the
looking difficult for Brandon.
Oh, Queen B1, that's the move we were worried about, so that was good.
Queen B1, yes.
Oh, sorry, that was our line. I'm giving us too much credit there.
Oh, he did do Queen B1.
He did. Yeah, it's just not. Hello. Oh, this was clever. Was that clever or was that crazy? This isn't what I thought was.
If you get to an end game, and this H pawn, I guess, is big.
This doesn't feel like the cleanest way he could have done it, probably, but okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's.
This is winning.
Yeah, if anyone thinks about rook, F, and H pawns, you tend to kind of need your king on the king side for that to become a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was that.
And that is that, yes. Okay.
Okay, this one ended up a win for White. Let's see this one. Okay, that's okay. There's more to come on this. So Bishop. Yeah. Okay, they did.
He went the H3 way. Okay. Oh, King.
In fact, I'm going to put the knight in maybe on.
Yeah.
Oh. Was that deliberate, do you think?
But this is just winning for White, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it was that deliberate. It sort of was probably just accumulated tiredness and frustration.
Yeah.
I don't think it's left a very interesting game to assess. Yeah. Okay. Game over.
Okay. And that was that one. Keith,
I noticed Peter Roberson lost to.
Oh, Matthew Payne won. Actually, let's just see that.
Major result. Oh my word.
Oh.
I'm trying to remember where we had this one.
4 knights one, is that this one?
Oh, the thing where we thought Black was slightly better with the after Black was trying to equalise with Knight.
Where were we? Do you remember? Was it sort of
Knight? We've just seen Knight F4 and stuff, haven't we?
The 4 knights position.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Do you remember where?
Exactly. So yeah, about
later or earlier.
Earlier, should be earlier.
No, quite a lot of moves back from where you are. Not 20.
Oh, knight G3.
19, I think. Knight F3, Knight X3. Yeah.
Okay, let's start from 9. Okay, so here we go.
Knight D4, yeah.
Okay, so this is what. Oh, now he went back. Okay.
Oh, I went back. I would just take.
Oh, sorry. Can I just check? What?
Yeah, maybe I think allowing Knight D5 is not a good idea.
Yeah, I was just checking. Maybe Knight A5 is met by Queen A3. Is that right? That's how you don't lose a piece after Knight A5.
So here
we look back on F8. I think the previous move. So here, Knight A5 is met by Queen A3. That's why it's not winning a piece, which is it's quite an important detail. And that, yeah. But that wouldn't, I mean, it certainly doesn't look like Black is playing to equalise at this point. It looks like he's definitely trying to be better. Oh, yeah. Now the white squares are sort of favouring White a little bit, yeah. Giving White some counterplay. I mean, it's still very unclear.
F5.
Oh, nasty detail. Queen H4 and Knight E6.
Oh yeah, so this is what happened.
So queen h4, if h6, then knight e6. That is a very nasty detail.
Yeah.
That's presumably what went wrong. In
That
essence,
went wrong.
Yeah.
that certainly went wrong. Poor Peter. Oh, but it's check, so it's 2 rooks for a queen, so it's still very much alive. But
maybe the position of white's pieces are just better. I mean,
the number one rule I tell my students is that if you're attacking, then the queen is good. The queen is just a great attacker.
Yeah,
here white's kind of still attacking with queen e7. I think that's the number. Oh,
the 2 knights are just too powerful. And the rook are not connected, so that's why for black is.
Well, the other thing is the queen is good when when the defender has weaknesses, like in the old Fischer-Portish game with the one where he allows queen a8 and then traps the queen. The queen beats the rooks. So, yeah, this feels like both of those rules in play. The queen is still attack. Mind you, the rooks can be having some attack too, but I think the queen is getting in first. 98. Wow, poor Peter. This is tough. Oh, 95 check. Queen d8.
Oh, and there's a knight on a5.
And then a skewer.
That's nice.
Oops, that's not nice. Not nice for black. Wow, I think white played that incredibly well.
He did. So Matthew Payne, 17 rating points. He must be up over 50 rating points now. 64 rating points, Matthew Payne.
Yeah, I'd take that.
He isn't. Do you know he hasn't lost a game yet? He's played 2 GMs, an IM, an FM, and he hasn't lost a game.
Yeah, that's quite good.
What a tournament for him. Yeah.
That's a very interesting game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really tough.
Right. Do you want to?
Keith, what happened to Keith?
Keith
didn't play this morning, which is a bit strange. And then he's back.
He didn't play?
He didn't play this morning. I don't know why. And I didn't even know that, GMs usually don't have the option to take a bye if they've had conditions and things. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully he's okay.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I assume so.
Well, he's okay enough to have got rook and 2v rook and 1 this afternoon. Which is a fairly
good at this position.
Sorry?
He's just good at this kind of position, like trading.
He is good at this kind of position, although is this one?
Have you ever played him, Lisa?
Oh yeah, I played him twice. So the first time I knew that he's really good at trading pieces and play endgame. But at that time, my endgame was quite good. So I managed to secure draw. And for a second time, I don't know why, but I just returned from the Olympiad. So I was a bit tired and my jet lag still exists. And I don't know for what reason. I just want to practice the game. I want to win. So I just try to play more aggressively. But I thought he's not good at attacking, but he plays really well against me and he attacked me a lot and he just won the game. So I just lost the game.
Okay.
So, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Probably next time I should play the solid games.
Solid game again, yes.
I mean, I think the thing, I'm not sure. I always thought the way to play Keith is to attack him and try to make
I feel the same.
He's kind of, most of the time he doesn't actually bother to calculate that much, but when he really needs to, then he's rather good at it.
Yeah,
that's my impression. If he needs to calculate, then he will, and he can calculate pretty well, but a lot of the time he just doesn't feel he needs to, I think.
Yeah, when he was attacking me, he just...
He certainly doesn't want to be doing it all the time. Yeah, every now and again, if he gets the right position, he's also going to attack you of sorts. But,
yeah.
So this is a little bit tricky, maybe.
So can black win? You can get...
Again,
time?
the time position isn't good for white, is it?
Yeah, to blunder.
Yeah.
It's not great for white that he has a minute rather than 11.
Yeah.
But white is an active chess coach, so hopefully he does some work on his end games. Okay. Is there anything else drastic going on at the moment?
Let's see what else is happening.
Can we just see how the juniors finished up, actually?
Yeah.
Do our quick junior check. So let's see a few results as we go down.
Turner one.
Ken Hobson drew.
We haven't looked at his games yet, but he's having a good tournament, isn't he?
Well, I believe he's now on the accelerator program, so
yes,
he's one of our highly thought of youngsters.
Definitely.
And his opponent had a very good result this morning, I think.
Thomas Bon.
Oh no, not in. Sorry, I'm getting confused with someone else. Sorry, no. I mean, it is a good result, but not what I was thinking of. Oh, what about Abigail and Indy? Yeah, we were looking.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Both got 1 minute each into an end game. So Abigail's got the bishop. Indy has the knight.
If you're playing this kind of opening Indy played where you're trying to blockade on the white squares and show that your knight is as good as your opponent's bishop, this is kind of the model position you might want to end up with. I think there's a sense in which this is beautifully thematic, and Indy is doing a good job, I think. Because I think, black's going to go king f3, knight f6, and if white goes bishop f4, knight f6 to e4, and it's going to be pretty hard for Abigail, I think.
Okay.
But, it's...
So can white try something like king c4, then b5, then trade the pawn, then king b4, king a5, king b6? Otherwise, the pawn will be very difficult to defend. I mean, the g3 pawn.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is clearly... She has to try something like that. So if I go king f3 now... Or did you want to go king c4 straight away? Was that the thing?
King f3, bishop d6.
Yeah, knight f6.
Yeah.
The thing is, I hope b5 as black I can just ignore it. Right? I certainly don't want to take it.
Yeah, probably b5. But on b5 is the only way. Otherwise, I can't really defend.
Knight e4 check and knight g3. And...
King b4, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I think white is just slower.
Yeah, I need to do some counting at this point, but I'd be very surprised if white can make trouble. Yeah. But, clearly a close game, and but sort of a triumph for black strategy in a way, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting stuff.
Who else do we have?
So there's Nina and Max, of course, who were...
Yes.
Nina won again?
So Nina won.
Yeah, that's right.
It was looking good, wasn't it, when we looked earlier? And Max drew with column.
Yeah.
I thought that was looking quite good.
With Claire, unfortunately, her position...
So how the game finished, like the drew one? Because I thought that was a really complicated game.
This one?
Yeah. Max.
Yes.
Oh, this one, of course.
This
one. Yeah, this one, I'd forgotten.
So how did it go? Knight h4.
Oh, why not knight g3 or queen g3?
Knight g3 we were looking at, yes.
Yeah, or queen g3.
I did quite like the simple knight g3 and taking on f1 as well, I think.
Yeah.
Although maybe, I mean, there's a lot. There may be a lot we didn't see because we didn't look that long. But
we'll check in on Hebs next, Blue Grey Haze, yes.
Oh, this is a slightly convoluted way of doing it, perhaps. And the queens are coming off.
Or are they?
No, they're not. Well, the queens aren't coming off, but... As soon as I said the queens are coming off, it became very clear they weren't.
Not at all.
It was the timing that was so impeccable. Well, what's rook d... Okay, don't worry.
Oh, this is a good strategy, like to train the queen, eliminating the threats.
Yeah. For now, white's piece for 2 pawns.
Yeah. Oh, so why this is a draw?
I would think white... Oh, I was going to say I think white's still winning here, but this was the end. So this is where... Maybe Colin just offered a draw. He's my club mate, Colin. Yeah.
Probably white has more chances here because
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what the
So I
time.
think Column gets coaching from Tom Rendell.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure that is.
So Tom might tell him off for taking the draw.
He will.
Okay.
Yep, I imagine so. So Hebs.
Let's see Hebs. Where's Hebs?
Yeah, so we haven't seen Hebs yet, have we?
We need to see Hebs. He's won. He's actually won.
Okay.
He's won with his bishops. And his
I saw his
acorn. It's all
I
acorns.
saw his position right back in the opening and thought it looked quite sort of the kind of thing he would be happy with.
Cool. Well done, Hebs.
Well, it certainly looks like a position he would be happy with. Okay.
Okay. We've seen that one. So here's one left that's still going. Eric Gardner against Jack Liu.
Yeah, Jack. I have like trained with him.
Have you?
Yeah, and I mean he improves quickly recently, and because he used to be not that strong, but now he's improving.
Yeah.
In the future, he'll be stronger. I mean, he's
improving because of your coaching. You can be.
I wouldn't say I coach him, but it's kind of training games. I play training games.
Okay.
Just give him some advices on openings, and I trained like only for 1 week. So
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether my training helps him to improve or.
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
So he's doing. His opponent's doing what he has to do here, putting the bishop on f2. I think.
Because he's like a Chinese recently transferred to England.
Okay. Okay. Is this just a draw?
No, I'm not at all sure it is. I think. I think.
Oh, do you come with the bishop round this way?
Yeah. So yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
And well, first of all, white can't take on h2 because bishop e1, bishop moves, and then bishop g3 check wins immediately. So that's annoying. So
black should be winning. That has more chances.
I think black's probably winning. I just need to get my head in gear, but I think he is. So bishop d2, I'm pretty sure is the way to go.
Yeah.
So let's see, he does bishop d2. So white can't take
h1.
Yeah, you can't take on h2, king h1.
Or bishop g3. Or
if you take that one goes there, and that's the end of that, right?
That's the end of the game. Yeah. So you have to go something like king h1 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. King h1.
Bishop e1.
Okay, then bishop b6 or something.
Bishop b6. Then bishop. And bishop g3 and wait.
Yeah, and then bishop a5 and.
Bishop a5, then bishop f.
Oh, then just bishop f4. Sorry, that's the end, isn't it? So yeah, there's no time to get to the other diagonals. Yeah, it's just finished. Yeah, of course.
Probably why should wait like bishop c5, something like that.
Yeah, but isn't it the same deal? I mean, it's still bishop g3 and. Oh, sorry. Wait with bishop c5. No, of course. Sorry. Yeah.
So okay. So
but at some point you still have to. I'm getting confused now. I'm sure it's winning.
Yeah, I mean, here.
Yeah.
Bishop g3 is played.
Okay. So, bishop e1.
We could go bishop e1. So what if
bishop h2, then bishop anywhere on that diagonal h4?
Yeah, then it's winning.
Then it wins. Yes. True.
So the bishop's got to be ready to come back. So bishop
comes somewhere. So here, say.
Yep.
then
yeah, basically just bishop h4, bishop b4, bishop g5 or something. There's no way to.
Yeah.
You need the king to come and support the deal by coming to d3 or something, which it's never going to do because it has to stay on the h pawn. So.
Yeah, because the bishop has to stay on this diagonal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it gets, yeah, okay, so this is a win.
It is game over.
Game over. So this is where they're at.
Okay.
He's going to find it.
He certainly is. He knows what he's doing, I think.
That's because of the training games.
Well, exactly. All down to the quality of coaching.
Yeah. Okay, well done, Jack.
Yeah, nice work.
Nice work. Okay. And anything else still happening? These are all finished. All right, so that one's going to be a win for black.
Yeah.
This one is also going to be a win for black, we think.
He hasn't done things quite as I expected, but...
Yeah, what happened here? b5 is taken.
Well, but he's going to go knight e4 next, and then he can.
Yeah.
She can choose whether she defends the c pawn or the g pawn, but not both. So
Not both. Yeah.
I think he's.
That's that one.
Yeah, maybe he was just completely ensuring there was no counterplay.
Okay, so this is the last one where we're not sure. And this one could go on for a long time.
Well, it doesn't help when black's enjoying himself so much, does it?
Keith will put his rook on f4, won't he?
Are there any winning pawn endings there? I'm not sure there are.
So is there a winning plan in this position?
The winning plan is to play on for so long that your opponent stops thinking about the game.
Loses the will to live.
Loses the will to live.
Yeah.
Well, rook f6, I guess, is the first stage of the plan, but it doesn't look.
So rook f6, you can't take it, presumably.
No, I think that is one of the winning
That's
pawn
what you can't
endings.
do.
Because you don't have time to play f4 and support.
Yeah.
Isn't that true? It must be true. Yeah.
Yeah, so say he does there.
Then I guess he'll go check, and if king f5, he'll go rook a8 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can the king go inside or
do
something?
It's true. You can only really go back. Or otherwise you're just being checked a lot, aren't you, over here?
Yeah. But I'm sure he'll have some tricky attempt at some point, perhaps.
He's gone.
Yeah, when he played against me, he had loads of like tricky attempts in game.
Okay, rook d6. So rook g8 check. Oh, maybe he wants to do rook f6 at the point where with the king on f5. When I go rook f8, he wants the king already there. But okay, I still go rook a8. So check on f8. No, check on f8 first. Make the rook go to f6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when the rook's on f6, then I'll go rook a8. I think that's right, isn't it, Lisa?
Yeah, I can't see any winning plans for black. So
apart from the key one that Natasha mentioned, sucking out the will to live. Other than that, it's quite difficult.
Okay.
Pawn structure should be a draw, but I mean the pawn on f5 and g5 with white pawn on h5, black has more chances to win.
Yes, sure. Yeah,
but this one should be a draw.
Yeah. All right. Shall we leave them to it then?
I'm definitely not seeing this one out to the end.
Fine. Okay, good. So yeah, some great games actually. Really nice games today. Congratulations to lots of people, but nice game there by Mickey, but also to Declan because he played a lovely game too. We had, I'm not going to go through all the results actually, but we had some good results. And at the top, let's just see the scores at the top of the tournament. So we have Mickey actually a point clear. He just needs to draw tomorrow to win the tournament. He might
drawing in round 1 and then winning 7 in a row is a pretty astonishing.
7 in a row.
That's an incredible achievement because you know, although he may be the favourite for each individual game, to string 7 wins together is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and with some very nice play as well. And then we have just a point behind Daniel Fernandez and Boris Golubovic.
Yeah, fantastic day for Golubovic. I don't know the guy, but it's a really extraordinary day.
Yeah, he won both, didn't he?
Matthew Payne is now up there after.
Matthew Payne's right up there. So Harry Grieve, Matthew Payne, Oleg, Masiesh, Marin, and Bao Nagia. We didn't see him actually today, didn't we?
This one, actually, I have played this one just to.
Have you? Yes. And how did you do?
I drew, but I was better. I was winning, I think. But still, it was hard to win in that position.
Yeah. And Daniel Dada 5.5, and Brandon, Matthew Turner, Danny Gormali, and Itgelt, who we saw, who could have been right up there. He could have.
I feel very sorry for
that
him.
blunder at the end against Daniel.
Sorry for Peter Roberson too, because that's quite a day losing 2 games.
Oh yeah,
really rough. That's really
tough.
These tournaments are brutal.
Yeah.
No, Lorenzo Fava is up there as well, which is interesting.
Yes.
He beat him this morning, I think. He
then
so he's really coming into form. You know, he's the young guy who won Scarborough Open and stuff.
No, I didn't know. Okay.
Was horrifically underrated. I mean, I played him in January and you know, it still felt like rating-wise a fairly unpleasant pairing. But he just managed to win. But he played complicated, scary stuff. He's very quick and sharp and about 15 years old, I think, something like that.
Okay, so he's
Yeah, I think so. I might be slightly. No, he might be a little older than that, but he's certainly come good in one of the lockdown COVID surge players, I think.
Yes. And so Nina's on 5. How many have we gone past Harriet? How many's Harriet got actually? Because they don't give I think this score might not show her.
She's on 5 out of 7.
Half point by. She's actually on half.
Yeah.
She's on 5.5. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so Harriet at the top for the women, and then Nina, if I'm getting that right. I might not be getting that right. Nina's on 5 out of 8. Harriet 5.5. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So lots of good games today. We've got the final round in the morning. We're going to be on, it's myself and Jonathan Blackburn from 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone, very much in the chat and for watching. Also, we should say thank you to the hotel, the University Arms Hotel, very nice hotel in Cambridge. Thanks to them for sponsoring the event. Thanks to Shorey, Matt Carr, Nigel Towers, the team for organising. And thanks everyone very much for watching.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Natasha.
Thanks guys for commentating. Yeah. Okay.
Don't worry about us.
Yeah.